9:30 on a Thursday night, and you are tuned in to Beltway Radio and Beyond, which can mean one and only thing, that if you have Kentucky going anywhere in your bracket, you are busted. This is Chip Chat. Welcome to Chip Chat, everybody. I'm Chip Early Bird. Who are you?
I am Kevin Early Bird, early rapper, producer, mental health advocate.
There you go. That's a lot of things.
That's a lot of things.
I just said Early Bird. It's a lot faster.
Yes.
People know who you are.
Okay.
You know, I don't think you have to give like the whole bio every time.
Okay.
But you can if you want to.
Well, the new listeners.
There's two of them. So you're tuned in to the time of year on Chip Chat where, because our show is on Thursdays, I am at maximum everything because it's March Madness and I care way more about this than I should, especially since I have not watched more than about an hour of college basketball all year up to this point because I have children and they don't let me because I have to watch Bluey all the time, which is a great show. I do like the Bluey. But the brackets is a whole thing. And even though I am not in any pools that are for money this year, I am in several that are for bragging rights, which is as valuable as far as I can tell. And so I am like glued to it. We are counting down to the end of the Kentucky-Oakland game. Brian, do we have an update on this game?
All right, Oakland is putting in the ball, and Oakland player just got recently fouled. Oakland is leading 79-76 with 3.9 seconds left.
And they're shooting.
And they'll be shooting three throws.
Okay. So many people don't know this, but Brian the White Man is also a sports producer. So he often, is in the heat of these games.
Okay.
And these really intense games between American University and GW. Really high-level basketball. So, hey, American made the Sweet 16 like 15 years ago.
No, it was George Washington.
No, American did pretty good.
American was all right.
I remember.
I know Mason went to the Final Four.
Yeah, well, Larinaga, he's taken 3 teams to the Final Four now.
Yeah.
So, he's unbelievable. All right. Also, don't bet against Izzo. Not that I
do it the next game. Though.
Yes, I did take UNC. I agonized over this. I even asked J. Scott Smith. I was like, "What should I do?" And he didn't respond, which I think means he probably took UNC as well. And I know he can't say that publicly.
Okay.
Which is fine. It's the only time of year that I will publicly say anything positive about Sparty. Which is to say, don't bet against Izzo. All right.
Yeah, true.
That was hard to do. Okay, so this week, this is a special edition of Chip Chat.
Another one.
You make me feel welcome.
Yes, we only do special editions here. And because this is the AI episode, but we do have the real guest, which is you.
Yes.
Early Bird is here. Charlie was real last week. He's a real guest too. Not that he wasn't, but we did have another guest last week, which we had to reschedule. So she was how should we say, occupied at the time.
Okay.
That we were supposed to be talking to her.
Okay.
So good for her. In any event, welcome back.
Thank you.
You have a new record out.
Comes out midnight, so technically tomorrow it comes out.
Okay.
On all streaming services.
So we've got the jump.
Okay, yes.
We're going to play
world
2
exclusive.
tracks off of it before anybody else can play them.
Exclusive, yes.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that later. Also, you've been doing some experiments with AI.
Yes.
Which we want to talk to you about. That's going to be great. Also, huge news this week. There's likely a government shutdown. It's probably going to happen Friday. It's probably going to be resolved by Monday. You may not really feel it, except that it'll increase the federal deficit by X number of billions of dollars because Republicans love increasing the federal debt. It's one of their favorite things to do. Speaking of tax time, go check that out. Let's see. Some folks can't pay their bills. You know who those are? We'll find out. Others are stupid enough to fall for anything. Plus, Florida is sexy. And Texas is silly. Like that? Okay. Oh, breaking news.
Ladies and gentlemen, your number 3 seed in the, I believe, the East region has been eliminated.
South region.
South region, thank you. So Oakland defeated Kentucky. This is Oakland's first time ever advancing to the second round. They have been in the tournament several times. They won 80-76. So congratulations, Oakland.
And this isn't the first time a three's lost in the first round, but it's a big deal that it's Kentucky. Kentucky losing early in the tournament is a bummer for a lot of people. I had them going pretty far, but so did everybody else in my bracket, so that's good. And hooray. I love these upsets. It throws a wrench in everything. Also, I have a lot of friends who are Kentucky fans. So this is going to be great for them. Oh, breaking news.
Breaking news. Tez is here.
Tez is here. Breaking news. Tez is here just in time to do the word thing. He's going to say hi to Brian.
Yeah.
Go ahead, jump in somewhere. You figure out how to get in here and let me get out of the way. We got new chairs. I don't know if you see that. Be careful. Yeah. The 420 guys invest in this station. I don't.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
All right, there we go. I
There,
got
Oz.
you. All right. I heard what you
training.
I heard what you said, and I didn't register.
That what? Kentucky lost?
No, that the new chairs.
Something squealing. Uh-oh.
Somebody's car.
Somebody's car.
Is that
Outside. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know that. I know that squeal.
Yeah, that's a serpentine belt.
Oh, well, I did not. I know of the squeal of it happening.
belt.
There you go. Educate
There's
the
only
listeners.
one belt. Newer cars only have one
All right.
belt. If you're my age or older, you had several belts. A fan belt. And there was a belt for your water pump and the one for your alternator.
Do you have a word?
Whatever. Yeah. Do you have a word? I was stalling for you.
I know. Thank you. I know. I have a word.
Okay. I don't. No, I've got a word. All right. So sit back, grab some
Silicone.
It's bracket time. You're listening to the best show, the only show, Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps. The new rage.
All right, welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Tez.
What's poppin', yeah?
And Early Bird's here.
Yes.
Tez, welcome.
Thank you. I know.
You
I'm
made it just in time for the intro. You
Just
take
in
your
time.
jacket off? Or?
I know. I'm still,
Just like
I'm still
hang
in. Yeah. I'm still in. I came
cold
in hot.
today.
It was definitely cold.
You were
today.
coming in hot. Yeah, it
The,
was cold today.
What is it? Is it the lion is still out, and
I
then
don't
the
know.
lamb? It goes out like a lamb, right? March.
Well, the
It's
cherry
backwards
blossoms
this
were
time.
out
Yeah.
a whole week early, 2 weeks early, and
then-
now they're all going to get blown away because it's going to be down below freezing, and the tidal basin is eating most of the rest of downtown. It'll be fun to discuss in the camps.
Yes. Well, be specific. Be specific with
The
that.
climate
The
refugee
camps. Yes, please. I was like,
Might be
that
the
is
other
not
kinds.
the
You
joke.
never know.
I mean, it's coming soon to a theater near you.
November.
Yeah, right. Coming this November.
God
No,
help
it's
us
not.
all.
No.
Movie
We're all
comes
in-
out in April.
Yeah.
No.
We're all in several categories.
Betty.
Okay, so we're gonna jump right into it. Now we've come to the part of the show called the rundown. This is where I tell you about some stuff that's going on in the news. If we were professionals, it would sound something like this.
Putting the vaccine into salad dressing.
Now he's doing it on purpose.
Hey, this guy,
But it's still working.
It still works.
Radio and beyond in Washington, D.C. I'm J. Scott Smith, and this is the part of the hour where I tell you some stuff that's going on in the news.
Thanks, Jay. All right, so importantly, shout out to Jay and the Spartans. They won their game. They were the opening game. I definitely picked them.
Did you?
I always pick on. I pick Izzo. I know Izzo is good in the tournament. I agonized over whether to pick them against Carolina. I did end up picking Carolina. If I'm wrong about that, Jay, you are welcome to come back and tell me 6 ways from Sunday why I should never bet against Izzo in the dance. That is a mistake I've made once or twice before, and it has burned me. So I did it with caution. I literally agonized over this for like 18 hours.
I'm surprised that I'm surprised. I guess I get the Izzo piece because he's been very consistent through his whole fucking career in that damn tournament. But still, that your hatred didn't run that deep.
No, because I want to win.
Ah, good.
Also,
okay, good to know.
Also, when it comes to the tournament,
yeah,
just as it does to bowl games, I tend to favor the conference in ways that I wouldn't otherwise.
Interesting.
You know, like I think Illinois is better than they are because
And that's your number one mistake.
yeah, it is often my mistake, and it burns me often. However,
I just know Houston is always going to go far.
currently,
I know.
and they're mostly made up. I picked them to win in several of my brackets.
Yeah.
They're made up of mostly the same teams last year, and so they're
Yeah,
very good.
exactly.
But like, I think the Big Ten is better than they are because I watch that mostly, and so therefore I tend to pick heavy on the conference. I got a little nervous with Illinois earlier today. They did pull it out, but that did get me a little worried. I don't think of Nebraska as being in the Big Ten, so I didn't think of them and pick for the conference. And, you know, I know they've been in for like 10 years now, but fuck them. And it's a whole thing. Anyway.
Wait, that is the craziest detour we just took.
Is it?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's pretty much.
That's a wild.
You've been here for what, 3 years now?
I know. That's just that was a while. Because I was like, wait, hold on. We're not supposed to be talking about this.
We're
right
going to
now.
be talking about AI.
I was like, this is not the rundown. We did it all. Oh, because J. Scott Smith. Okay, that I was like.
Did you have to piece that back together?
I was like, wait a minute. That is not. How did we get there? But sports. That's what it is.
I'm aware that there's other things in the world, but mostly that. Bruh. All right, so here's what we want to talk about. We're going to talk about AI a lot in this episode.
Yes.
Google made an image generator in AI. It's called Gemini.
Right.
It wasn't originally called Gemini, but they changed that.
Had to rebrand.
And then it turns out we learned this week that your buddy the turtleneck wants to make that the standard in the phones. Once
again, which is a whole
Which I don't know how that works.
I don't know. That's a
And they got hit in Europe for $971 million for scraping.
Justice Department today, antitrust lawsuit comes out today against as well. I mean, everybody knows the reverence I have for that organization or whatnot. But at the end of the day, like. Shout out to Ms. Khan and her efforts at finally to enforce the antitrust. This always happens in this country. It goes through ebbs and flows where the corporation we have one of these
corporate
styles.
Government.
And it's like it has to
fail.
Yeah, but almost you kind of gotta like. This was Microsoft, right? The dominance of it, and I think especially we was talking a lot about AI
and against TikTok and all this stuff. You might want to juice the American
this might be the
companies,
time,
give them
right?
a little chance to get ahead, and then
yeah, but like because again, like that. I agree. Again, people, I agree with a closed system. I think it's cleaner. I think you can control it better. In the sense, everybody just yes, I understand and I'm empathetic to why people use open systems.
Which is not the story we want to talk about.
But yeah, again, look at that. Almost did.
We can get to that.
We can get to that.
That's another thing.
But yes, they are going to use that similar to the way Google was their main search, like automatic as a default. It will be a default AI
in the iPhones.
Yes.
Okay. Not what we want to talk
No.
about. So Google created an AI that was a generative image creator like ChatGPT and all the other stuff.
You type something in and words then can dictate a picture or video sometimes.
Yeah. And Google was like, hey, the data sets that we're using are made of people, and people are racist shitheads. So we should fix that. We should fix
Evergreen
that
for people just across time.
Always. We should fix that by like putting little barriers or not like nudges in the AI that will ask it to be less racist. And so, and within the Google bubble, they were all like, this is a great idea.
Till it gets out. You gotta test it. You gotta test.
They let it out into the wild.
Yeah.
And
you don't know how crazy people are and what they start typing in.
They had that Twitter bot that
turned into a racist Nazi that Microsoft
after like
made.
3 hours or something.
Yeah, it took 20 hours and they had to kill it. Which probably shouldn't have shocked anybody.
Oh, look, they're taking count of how many times we're getting them out the way. The robots will remember. I'm a mark down. You know what?
Racist until you're elected senator from Alabama.
That's gonna be my novel. The robots will remember.
Tommy Tuberville, famously AI robot.
Oh God! But yes, this is a.
All right, so Google released this thing, and then it started spitting out problematic images like George Washington, who is black. And when you said, hey, show me an image of the founding fathers, it was like, well, we better not make them all white. That's pretty racist.
The AI obviously has already watched Hamilton. Yeah. Obviously. Like, what do you mean? Of course.
So there was a lot of stuff about like Google doesn't get credit for this. Lin-Manuel did it first and all that stuff. But like when Lin-Manuel did it, it wasn't that. And it wasn't meant to be that.
No.
It wasn't making George Washington black for the sake of him being black. It was just that, like...
Well, wait. Weren't this is probably distasteful, but wasn't George Washington's teeth black?
Yes.
Yeah,
they were. Yes, that is the truth.
They grew in
That is the truth. That is... yeah. You could say that in Florida and get arrested. Or
I apologize for laughing at
or
that.
Alabama.
Or you can lose your job for telling that true fact.
George Washington had false teeth, some of which those teeth were made from the teeth or were the teeth of enslaved people. That is true.
Amongst many other
horrible things.
But other, like, that's like common. Like, that's not like just him. That's like any plantation owner on your way down.
Yes. So when Google shows images of plantation owners / founding fathers being black,
can't be both, but I can't be black both, but founding father and plantation owner.
It's
that part. Let me be specific about that. Yes, they cannot.
They can't be black and a plantation owner. It's a little disconcerting.
Yeah,
and people are like, "Hey, that's not what we meant by diversity." And so Google was like, "Oh, quick!" and they killed it.
Yeah, female pope and a black pope.
A female black pope. God willing.
Right.
Let's let her be tattooed, female, funny, and
lesbian.
Yeah.
There you go.
Deborah Wilson for pope.
But even with that, like if we talk about even the pope, they had the real pope, and that's when I was like, I got to even be more. I thought the Pope had a fly ass like Vatican bubble jacket on. That was not true.
That was not true.
That one hurt me.
But that wasn't Google that did
it wasn't, but I'm just saying in the realm of like generative images.
He's Argentinian. It's
I was
believable.
like, and it could be cold. I was like, I would think that it would be like, oh, the fashion houses of the world could possibly
Prada was like, yo, put this on.
Yeah.
I mean, they are right there.
Right there. That was the one where I was
all in.
I was like, ooh, this stuff is getting tricky. So
amongst this, they also produced images of black Nazi soldiers and Asian women as Nazi soldiers.
Oh.
That was pretty weird.
They're like playing out with shit action. Like if World War II went a completely different way, what the hell are they trying to do here? Where are they getting this from?
So
the internet.
This is the thing where like if you just
all right, this is fed into this, right? And then it starts to be like, all right, like whose crazy cinematic universe did they have they pulled this from?
Well, they didn't pull it from anything. They just told it, if anybody asks for a group of people, don't make them all white. Make them all of the things.
Benetton ad.
Make them a Benetton ad. Make them multicultural. Make them multigender. Make them anything.
Got to be guardrails on this.
And it's like
that shouldn't be hard to like.
It shouldn't be.
That shouldn't be hard to.
But when you're dealing with these massive data sets and all of this, it's very difficult to curate this properly, which kind of gets to this thing that we are going to be talking about tonight, which is to say that maybe this is not quite ready for prime time. And that a thing that is obvious and common sense to human beings, that there were not black Nazis, does not occur to the robot because it does not have the historical context and experience that human beings do.
I guess there's two parts of this here. The cat's out the bag, no putting it back at this point.
That's correct.
I think everybody's going to hate me for this one. Like, needs to be some type of government regulation on this stuff. Put some guardrails on this.
It is being discussed.
To slow it. Just because at this point, the cat's out the bag. Cool. The best thing I think that can happen now is that, and this is asking a lot of people, but it needs to now become like, we need to train people on this. Like,
we've been needing
we need to make sure it's like part of the curriculum of like
how to have a bullshit filter.
Because I think there's even, I don't know, there's a story I'd seen where kids are upset that they don't have, like in their school, they're not equipped to deal with this. I'm blanking on where I read
not
it.
equipped.
Well, there was a issue that happened with Taylor Swift. I don't know if you're familiar with that one. She was photoshopped, and that got a lot of pushback.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Taylor Swift is a big deal to a lot of people, and she has that power. But I also heard that local high schools, women in local high schools were going through the same harassment where somebody who's good with AI could make them doing all sorts of foul stuff in a generative image, and that's more local than Taylor Swift, so.
It's a problem.
Yes.
Okay? It is a thing where I've been talking about this for literally for more than 20 years, where I said we should replace handwriting in school with bullshit filter. Teach people bullshit filter. And what I continue to ask is, am I good at knowing something is unlikely to be true because of all the history and shit that I learned in school? Because it informs my understanding of reality? Or is that a thing I learned from being exposed to a massive amount of bullshit? I'll give you an example. This week, somebody told me that the government was going to make you pass a background check for a 3D printer. And I said, there's not a chance on God's green earth that that's true.
Got to give this person a hug.
So
what
like,
it's okay. It's okay. They're not taking your printer.
I mean, if that's the level of conspiracy theory that they're at, though, that's pretty good. I'd take that. That's better than like. There are worse ones out there.
But this was several people, okay, in this conversation who were like, "Yeah, I heard that too." So I just quickly Googled this.
Okay, something came up.
What they were referencing was that there was a proposed bill in the state of New York that did not get out of committee.
Because it's crazy.
Because it's crazy to make people pass background checks for 3D printers for fear that they were printing ghost guns.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they get a real gun, no problem.
So, like, but the point of this was that here was this thing that was obviously untrue, and none of these people bothered to check.
Kind of like the kids identifying as cats.
Peeing in their litter boxes and stuff, which never was true, but Fox News totally fell for it, and that's hilarious. Jesse Waters
but it's hilarious until it has real-world implications on trans folks. You know?
Yes, it's a big problem.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, like, guys, just take a beat and check. And it didn't take me more than 15 seconds to check this.
People don't want to know. That's the thing.
But
they don't want to know.
Why?
Because then it uncovers it all, and then they might find a way to still, again, live in the lie, I guess, for lack of a...
There's plenty of shit to be mad about.
There is, but yeah, I guess you're saying, like, these type of things, you said how many people? 3 other people agree?
3 people in
to
this
me,
conversation.
that is just like a sense of community in a sense, and it's a fucked up ass way to, because those 3 people are in a sense their own kind of like,
they all wanted this to be true so that they had something to be like, God damn it, what are they coming after next? And it's like, guys, this isn't a thing. This isn't
There's
real.
better ways to have community.
My question is, was my impulse to say that can't possibly be true because of the fact that I'm a Washingtonian, I was educated in a quality public school system, I know better, and I've carefully managed to stay ahead of a bunch of bullshit conspiracy theories? Or is that because these people are more easily fooled due to some other factors?
Well, no, I think it's to the point you talk about a lot, and like we making jokes about Fox News, but I was listening the other day about how what people see on that network, like let's just say a mentioning of like Trump's trials, right? Like let's say the way we mention it on here.
Yeah.
They like, there was numbers like maybe it was mentioned 3 or 4 times. So like if this is your only news source and that's all you're getting, you're never hearing anything else. And these other, like, again, if Fox News falls for people peeing in, it's insane. I don't know, it's like, but if they fall for that and people are hearing that, and that's their only source of news.
If it's getting clicks, it just feeds the algorithm.
Yeah. And
So,
there's worse outlets now than Fox.
Including apparently Google's Gemini.
Yes.
Which was throwing out all kinds of crazy shit. All right, so speaking of racists.
Yeah.
Texas. Dateline. Okay, this is some, like, maybe the fastest moving court stuff I've seen in a while. Here's what happened. Texas passed a law that gave themselves the power to enforce immigration law.
So
It's
Texas.
not a thing that states can do.
So Texas.
It made it illegal to be in the state of Texas illegally. It's funny. And then it also gave them the authority to deport people who were in the state of Texas illegally.
Doesn't Georgia have something about you had to show papers or something?
Virginia premiered this in Prince William County, and Corey Stewart did it. And just show me your papers, and which began my list of places I wouldn't spend money. And I boycotted Prince William County, and I called Corey Stewart a racist, and he blocked me on Twitter, and I called him a racist on Kojo Namdi shows several times until he packed up his shit and moved back to Minnesota where he belongs, because he's not a real Virginian. I won. All right. Arizona copied the Prince William County thing and made it SB 1070, which is why Arizona is still on the list, despite the fact that the courts have struck this down, which brings us back to Texas.
Yes.
Immigration law, the border, is specifically defined by the Constitution as the purview of the federal government. But that has not stopped Greg Abbott from walking right up to that line.
See, Bell's disabled.
He took it a step too far. So what happened was Greg Abbott passed a law through the rubber stamp legislature there in Austin that made it illegal to be illegally in Texas. And the federal courts basically struck this down and said, not a chance, buddy. And then they said, we're putting a stay on this while it gets litigated in court.
Right.
And it got to the Supreme Court on Tuesday on the rocket docket. And the Supreme Court, with a very predictable majority, sent it back and said, no, you can go ahead and enforce this while it gets litigated.
Crazy.
Oh, even crazier. The Fifth Circuit comes riding to the rescue.
Yes, they definitely did. That was the updates came swift.
Shockingly, the Fifth Circuit, the most conservative circuit in all of the United States, gets this Tuesday morning and goes,
No.
Oh, nay.
No.
And the 3-judge panel goes, no, this thing is back on stay because we can't even figure out the logistics of how you can possibly enforce it.
How do you enforce it? And now, again, they know that's a precedent that you can't have out here where the states are now trying to enforce some type of immigration law. Like,
so, okay.
This has to go back.
Circuit Chief Judge Priscilla Richmond asked during the hearing on Wednesday, it got all the way to Wednesday, how the Texas law would work in practice, listing scenarios that could quickly lead to confusion. Quote, this is the first time, it seems to me, that a state has claimed that they have the right to remove illegal aliens. This is not a power that historically has been exercised by the state, has it? And Texas Solicitor General was like, well, no.
Thought we were originalists.
No.
What the hell?
Then they started to ask, like, how would this work in practice? And the guy was like, well, we'll just take them back to the federal authorities at the border. And the judges were like, well, what if they just refuse to accept them? And he was like, well, then we'll send them to Mexico. And they're like, well, what if the Mexicans won't take them? And he's like, well, we're in uncharted territory. That was literally his actual, that's what he said. Aaron Nielsen, Texas Solicitor General, said he wasn't sure. In some cases, they might be, quote, arrested. In others, they might not. Nielsen said
I love that one.
Is, quote, uncharted. Nielsen said Texas has the right to arrest people for entering the state illegally. They do not.
No.
Quote, Texas has decided, I love this line, Texas has decided that we are the epicenter of this crisis. No, you don't get to do that. Quote, we are the front line and we're going to do something about it. You can't just do that. Okay, so the 3-judge panel rules no dice. The law is on stay pending it going back to the full review of the 5th and then on to the Supreme Court. This is one of these things where it's like it's very open and shut. You don't have the legal authority to do this. You're creating a theory out of nowhere.
You don't have the infrastructure to do it even if you did. There's no
They're building an $81 million base there in Eagle Pass for Texas National Guard troops to be on the border in what was a state park.
Oh, great
so,
use.
So, way to use your state tax dollars.
If we think about this state and prior to it even being a state, there's a through line from the creation of this state about people going there and want to do what the fuck they want and not to be a part of. It's always interesting that they want people to go back and this state.
Where though?
Wait, Mexico?
Well, last I heard Davy Crockett came there from Tennessee.
How'd that work out for him?
He should go back to Tennessee. He died at the fucking Alamo is how it worked out for him. Like Sam Austin should go back to Kentucky. It is a question about who gets to send who back to where.
Yeah.
What's to say that the Mexicans aren't coming into Texas saying they want to do what the fuck they want?
Right.
Was their country.
Exactly. And that state
has a dumb fight.
The state has been lawless since its inception.
The wild, wild west.
It is. If people gone to Texas is to go do what the fuck you want there. But again, you're a part of a union of states.
Sam Houston's actual line is, you can go fuck yourselves, and I'm going to Texas.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. He said, you can go to hell, I'm going to Texas. That's the actual line.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you're part of the union, right? I know I have to tell these folks down there a lot about.
Are they?
Yeah. You are part of the union.
The Republic of Texas, right?
Yeah.
You're part of the Six Flags.
You're part of the union of this United States, and again, there's a parchment that is followed. This one here, again, I always say it. It's very scary when white people who have white laws that they created, and then they stop disobeying their own laws. It's crazy. It's so crazy. This shit has been made long ago by white men in wigs.
Yes.
Hey, a long time ago.
No. Google said they were black.
Yes. Sorry.
There were black guys there too.
There were black guys there. Right, exactly.
You don't know. Yeah. You weren't there.
But yeah, these are this isn't for me, just looking at the history of this country and just basic things I thought I knew.
Don't look too hard in certain states.
I thought I knew this is immigration, federal government territory. Hey, states, sit the fuck back down. If they need you, we'll go and then we'll.
It doesn't even say that.
Right.
It says that the national borders belong to the federal government Full stop.
But yeah,
period.
If the federal government needed help from the states, there's a way to do that. There's
they
a process.
Can summon,
the
guard.
Yeah,
but it doesn't say that in terms of
it
a
doesn't.
border.
No, it doesn't. I'm saying, but
and the 10th Amendment says every power not specifically reserved to the federal government reverts to the states. But the power of enforcement of the federal border is part of the specifically reserved for the federal government.
Again, this Abbott, man.
This is why they should teach literacy in the South. I'm just wondering, like, how is this happening? You don't find this problem along the Canadian border. There's nobody in Vermont who's going like, whoa,
the thing is,
we need to assume border security because they have schools that teach people to read.
No, these folks know how to read well. They know how to read very well. And what they're doing is playing their constituents
Greg
for fools.
Abbott should ramp up his reading.
Stop that. Oh, God, another. Sorry. Another ADA complaint. No, I know.
What are they going to do?
He'd probably just reading like Mein Kampf or something, you know?
Yeah, he's definitely been reading, yeah.
Good look. He's got
Even the Germans understood where borders were. They just went right over them.
Exactly. We've got to find those.
Yeah. Okay. That brings us to our last story in the rundown. This is called I'm Starting to Feel Sorry for Them.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not. Okay. Do you remember Lev Parnas?
Yeah.
And Igor Fruman?
Yeah.
They were Rudy's buddies?
Yeah. They were there to, dig up dirt on Joe Biden, right?
Yeah. They were these Soviet guys that Rudy paid to, like, find stuff about Hunter and Joe Biden and stuff. And so Lev Parnas... he was in the news this week. What was he doing?
Did he go testify on the Hill?
He did.
Yeah.
He was hanging out there with the Jims.
Oh God.
Yeah, Jordan and Comer.
Yeah.
And so he was called to testify in front of the GOP-led House Oversight and Accountability Committee in their impeachment hearings about Joe Biden.
Still trying, going strong.
Still trying. And he had some interesting things to say.
Yeah, very.
Yeah. He's a convicted former aide of Rudy Giuliani. It's important to say
yes.
that. And he told everybody that the people that they were listening to were doing the bidding of Russia by attempting to dig up, quote, dirt on Joe Biden. When Jamie Raskin, congressman from Maryland,
yes,
he had poster boards. He was ready.
He's always ready.
Always ready. Constitutional scholar.
Yeah.
Had poster boards. He's like, what is this? And Lev Parnas was like, yeah, we couldn't get any information about anything from anybody at all, except from these KGB agents. And Jamie Raskin was like, well, did you have trouble distributing that to the media? And he's like, oh, yeah.
No one would take it.
Literally nobody would take the story except Fox News. And he goes, did Rudy know that this stuff was coming from the Russians? And Lev was like, oh, yeah, for sure. He definitely knew it. And he goes, did that bother him at all? And he goes, no, as long as it fit the narrative, it was fine. He said, but then there was also other people that were doing the bidding of the Russians, people in Congress, like Senator Ron Johnson and like Congressman Pete Sessions, who sits here right now, and he pointed at him. And yeah, interesting, Texas congressman.
Oh.
Parnas continued that Sessions was with me from the very beginning of this journey into finding of the giving dirt on Joe Biden. A spokesperson for Senator Ron Johnson fiercely refuted the accusations as, quote, completely baseless and a despicable lie. That spokesperson should go back and look at the tapes where Ron Johnson does all the things. There's, quote, there is nothing in Senator Johnson and Grassley's, way to throw old man Chuck Grassley report on Biden's family corruption that has ever been proven to be untrue. That is not true. And there's a lawsuit about that. So, cool. Anyone who ties Senator Johnson's legitimate and accurate oversight work to Russia is amplifying a despicable lie the Democrats spread in 2020 to discredit the senator's work and protect Joe Biden.
I think even thinking back on the first part of like, were you able to peddle this to anyone? And you're like, no, besides Fox. That goes to my earlier point that the individuals who watch Fox are getting fed something.
Choosing to be fed.
Yeah, like they are in a sense choosing to be fed, but I think there's a lot that goes into why they would just only choose like that one media outlet amongst others that are probably again doing a lot worse. The second piece is this guy went on the Hill and threw congressmen under the bus.
Pointed at him.
Yeah.
He said, I'm a convicted felon Ukrainian gangster. Hey, like soft hand Sessions, do your worst. If you're a congressman from Texas, by the way, and you have never like held a wrench in your life, be ready. People are going to come asking you some questions like, why are your hands so soft? That is a real question.
Yeah.
You don't work for a living. Well, why are your boots clean? That is a real question.
Yeah.
So, Congressman Sessions, watch out for Mr. Parnas. Better learn Russian. It's the only place you can escape.
Yeah.
Escape. It's Russian for escape. You know that?
I did not know that.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Trump trial updates. And then after that, we're going to talk to Early Bird about his foray into the AI world, which is really, really cool, but also a little upsetting. So,
why is it upsetting?
Well, because I'm rapping in it. You could have been.
I know.
But your wonderful efforts.
I try.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a break. You're listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps!
Difficult not to stray. I don't really know any way to convey. I've got to pass that night, I pray. Every day a chance to get further away. Every day I do my best to be my best. Practice makes perfect, don't worry about the rest. When I hurry, I'm a mess. Slow, go easy. Always keep my mind on people that need me. Work on myself, change just a little bit. Understand intimate thoughts, get into it. My future is as bright as I make it be. Dreams come patiently, never been make-believe. Taper to a fine point, covered in a felt tip. All my enemies I have to well wish. Tell this to the old me, you were selfish. Hold on to the people you do well with. I was never nervous until I had a kid. Looked deaf, dead in the eyes, told him I gotta live. Take a breath, treasure all the differences. Now I've stopped measuring all the distances. Negative thoughts I tried to keep at bay. Some things heavy on my soul they weigh. When I look back, it's not all sun rays. Every day a chance to get further away from the path. It's difficult not to stray. I don't really know any way to convey. I've gotta pass that night, I pray. Every day a chance to get further away. I was in the group home, listening to group home, looking for a loophole with a fine tooth comb. Down and out, everyone thought I was a has-been, written off, bridges burned, live and learn, regrouped. Waited my turn, now I'm getting invites to the White House, starring documentaries by Ken Burns. Get applause on speaking tours, never thought we would be where we are when I let go of the steering wheel of the car. Now I'm winning awards, people treat me like a star, greet me with oohs and ahs, still it's still free, Mumia Abu Jamal. Every day I wake up, I thank God. Negative thoughts I tried to keep at bay. Some things heavy on my soul they weigh. When I look back, it's not all sun rays. Every day a chance to get further away from the path. It's difficult not to stray. I don't really know any way to convey. I've gotta pass that night, I pray. Every day a chance to get further away.
know who you
I
are.
get on calls. I get on calls.
Come on,
about
look
other
at you.
things.
All right, welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Ted.
What's poppin', yeah?
And that music that you just
Yes.
heard is from our guest, Early Bird.
Shout out to Impulse. He was featured on that track. And
Oh,
that
yes.
That was
Friend of the
produced by Chrome. Did the production on that track. So I want to give them a shout
the
out.
Chrome version. I
The
got
Chrome
that off
version, yes.
the remix.
Yes,
album.
yes. Thank
Pretty
you.
cool. Go on Bandcamp and get the record.
Yes.
That's where I got
Support.
it. I bought it off of Bandcamp.
That's, no, good.
I should have bought it directly from you, but
I could have brought you a copy.
well, I could have done that too. But I'd rather support.
Next time I'll bring you some stuff. I'll give you a little gift bag.
That's cool. All right, so now we've come to the part of the show which is called the Trump trial updates. We have to do this a lot. It's basically every week.
His graphic
At
is
this
so
point,
lovely.
yeah,
It's
Brian's
so
got
great.
this amazing graphic.
It's so
So
good.
we just
Well,
wanted
he
to do
went
that.
down from 91 to 88, right?
On the how much he owes.
No, the indictments.
Oh,
It was 91. I think a couple of them got dismissed, and now he's only got 88.
well,
so, you know.
they were the ones in Georgia, they got put on hold.
Okay.
They have to go back and resubmit the indictments. They have to go back to a grand jury and get them found again
Which
under
should
slightly
happen.
different sets of rules. Don't worry, it'll be fine.
Okay.
So anyway, Trundle Dump is
It's good. I could not do that.
no, I got that from the Capitol
That's
Steps
really
in
good.
1992.
Yeah, that's a good. Just to be able to do
They
that
were
on
a comedy
The
group.
deep cut.
command. Yeah, but it's a command though. Is really
Trundle
good.
Dump in the three
Yes,
Trundle
exactly. Yeah, yes.
Yeah. All right. So that was back when they were making fun of him for getting divorced.
Of course,
Imagine
exactly.
that.
Right. Simpler times.
All right. So here's the deal. He was found guilty of fraud in the state of New York, and he's required to pay $450 million plus some. It's up to $464 million now with the interest.
Trump change.
You'd think
Should
if he
be.
was using Trump bucks.
Should be.
But the problem is, he doesn't seem to have the money. Or he's got the money and he can't get any bond company to issue the bond for the money.
The RNC's raising it right now.
So there's several aspects to this. One is he owes this money. He wants to appeal the case, but the way the rules work is he's got to pay the money and set up
Yeah.
a bond to say that if he loses, he's able to pay. Because otherwise, he just
What do we
appeal
do? You
everything,
keep
right?
going on forever.
Right. Well, you'd appeal, and then when they finally get you, go like, all right, well, I don't have the money, and declare bankruptcy.
Yeah.
But no, so you have to put up a bond in order to appeal, and his bond is going to be due by Monday. Okay, so like in a few days from now, if he doesn't have the money, the state of New York is going to seize his assets, bank accounts, property. Anything that is in New York that they can get their hands on,
Trump
and in
Tower?
other states
Yes.
that they have
Yes.
like reciprocal agreements with, they're gonna snatch that shit up to $464 million, and they're gonna hold it in an escrow for him until he can either pay and get a surety for it,
Or pardon himself.
they might buy some margarita machines or something. You never know.
and look, they could take a lot of property because the way he devalues the property. Who knows what it's?
That's right. It might
who
not
knows-
be worth
worth-
anywhere
yeah,
close
yeah.
to what he says it is.
$1.
And what we've learned from civil asset forfeiture,
Yeah.
that they might just snatch that shit and just say, look, it wasn't worth that anyway, and not give it back. Because that is how we support the blue. So,
That's true.
back to blue.
Go blue.
Oh my God.
Brian.
He's on it. He's on it today. Oh,
All right.
keep that warm.
We don't have any Ukraine stories. You clearly didn't read ahead.
I definitely read ahead.
It's all right. So,
I definitely read ahead.
okay, so, yeah, it's coming up. He doesn't have the money. Can't
No.
pay. There's this other problem here, is the national security threat with this. Okay?
Oh, where the money could come from?
Correct.
Yes, yeah.
So let's
As a
say-
private citizen, I don't think that's true. But I guess, but you know what? He's really, in a sense, he still has documents that he shouldn't have. Like, so it's not even, he's never going to.
Well, he doesn't have them anymore.
Well, yes. Well, that we
but-
know of.
That we know of.
Yeah,
But
but-
let's just say,
He
for
sold 'em.
argument's sake, that early bird got pinched for something. Okay? He's between paychecks. He needs some money. You and I, we go, hey, we'll throw your bail, no problem, right? We bail him out of jail. He meets his court appearance. We get our money back. It's all kind of no problem, right? Unless you and I say, hey, man, we'll throw your bail. And then the second he gets out, we go, by the way, we're going to need you to not say X, Y, or Z about A, B, and C. Or we will need you to say A, B, and C about X, Y, and Z. There's a pressure on this because the second we pull our money back, he's back in the clink.
Right.
That's the national security threat, is that there's no rules about who is going to put up the bond. So if Putin puts up the bond and gets
MBS
and the Saudis put up a bond and they can get a surety company to sign for it, Trump can walk around, yelling at windmills or whatever the fuck he does. That is the thing he's into. He's yelling at windmills. You'd think that's a Don Quixote joke. It's not. It's just him literally, the windmills are killing all the whatever. The whales. All right. He can go around yelling at windmills and the P-tape still doesn't come out.
Oh, God.
I'm using that shorthand,
yes.
But you get the idea. That's a big problem. Emoluments clause, get the fuck out of here.
Come on, that's we're
way past that. If the Russians are holding your bond money, you got to do what they say. Or what? Or what? You get defenestrated.
I guess in a sense is once he's been president, you're no longer really a private citizen anymore. Like you are, but
he's not a flight risk.
Yeah, he's not a flight risk, but
where could he go?
Yeah.
Kazakhstan?
I think the trouble of this is, again, which we shouldn't even be talking about, but if he is reelected, right? And if a bond was put up by an adversary and he gets reelected, you would assume, because again, quid pro quo is not like, it's very prevalent in his vocabulary.
I'm going to need you to find 11,871 votes.
That's how
I'm going to need you to do me a favor, though.
That's just how he operates, right?
That's literally not how he talks. Those are direct quotes. I didn't make either of those up.
It's the reason he owes this money in the first place.
Yes, because he got caught.
Yeah, so, yeah, I agree that it's definitely, but he's a national security risk.
He is a national security risk.
But nobody cares. It's crazy.
Revoke the bond. Say, you're in
It's a civil trial, though, right?
Yes.
You can't do that.
Seize his shit until the appeal goes through. And give it back to him with interest should he beat the appeal. Bet against him. If the legal system would allow this to happen, that's how it should go. Okay? If you got somebody who's stupid enough to put a bet on something that they've got no chance of winning.
Right.
Like my brother betting against me that every year I think the Washington football team's going to win the Super Bowl, and he takes $5 from me knowing that I'm stupid enough to take that bet every year, right?
Just for the one time you're right?
I'm never going to be right, but I believe it. But I believe. In my heart, I believe.
It was at this moment he knew.
Shut up, Brian. I do believe, okay? And my brother knows it, and so
wasn't it like the Knicks saying in like '98 or some shit like that? I believe.
Well, it's the U.S. Soccer team.
Yeah,
I believe that we will win. Doesn't work.
Men.
The men's team. Yeah. But no, what's his name? Got second surgery. He's gonna be fine. But anyway, so he knows that I'm gonna fall for that, right? So, the New York. Tish James should just bet him. Like, you beat this case, we'll pay you back your $464 million plus interest. We'll give you $500 million. Bet me you beat this case. That's your bond. Make him sign for it. Hold his shit.
Mean?
It doesn't mean anything. Literally grab his shit with a promise of interest payments and all that stuff, should he prevail, and then make him challenge for it.
I think it's interesting to seize a property too. Is what he's kind of. That's what he's known for.
He wants that to happen though, because then he can be like, "Look at the tyrannical government sees my shit."
I think that just would line. I think there's a subset who believe that. I think there's 30% of people probably that believe that. But I think other folks will just look at this like, oh, this is what happens when
you break the law.
If you look at E. Jean Carroll, like when you rape somebody and then defame them. And then defame them again, and then you keep defaming them.
You have to pay them $93 million.
Some of them now, your co-conspirators in other places are doing the same thing.
This dude is in the hole for more than $500 million.
Yeah, he should have it though,
if he's a billionaire,
right?
But remember that he's the strongest man alive, but he's also the underdog. He's a victim, but also he's the only person who can save us.
How?
This is the balancing act. Go listen to Danielle Kurtzleben's story today on All Things Considered, and you'll hear it. You listen to these interviews. It's not Klepper interviewing Trumpistas at a rally. It's like a journalist interviewing these people, and you watch them spin themselves. They can't handle it. They argue with their own sentence, mid-sentence. It's.
I don't think it's a majority of Americans, though.
It is a cult.
But I don't think it's a majority of Americans.
It's not. The majority of Republicans, though.
It is. And you know,
yes.
Since we have an expert here, let's ask somebody who understands the human mind better than the two of us.
Right.
When you're watching somebody wrestle with their own like incongruent truths at the same time.
I think studies have shown there was a group of people who believed the world was going to end, and they had a particular date set out. And then that day came, the world didn't end, the world progressed.
May 12th or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, and instead of what a rational person would do where you go, okay, that's not the end of the world, they find that you double down and you say, okay, we were wrong, we calculated this wrong, but the world's going to end this date. So when you're challenged on these crazy ideas you have, instead of admitting that you're wrong, which would take vulnerability and you'd have to admit you were wrong, and that's hard to do for most people, people double down and they get even crazier ideas. So I think that's probably what's happening.
Okay.
We got to liberate people for being wrong. It's okay. It's liberating. If it's good, it's okay. It's because if you're wrong, you'll learn new information. After it's okay, I swear.
Okay. You can be wrong.
Good.
I get to be wrong all the time.
It's like,
yeah, that's science. Get things wrong and then learn something else.
Finding out something else.
That's the beauty of it.
Why don't we take one of those states nobody's using, like Kansas?
Stop this.
Just set up like a big car wash, right? And so, like, if you realize, all right, I believed in this thing that's bullshit, whatever, you get to drive through Kansas, and when you come out, nobody gets to give you shit about it, and you're clean. It's fine. You know, we're just making one big...
We're going to launder people's conspiracy theories.
Yeah, it's fine. You can just wash it down the drain.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what's going to work.
Well, nobody's using Kansas. All right, speaking of Kansas, this is in Florida, which is like Kansas, but somehow with coasts. You know that guy who is on our screen, who isn't us, who stole all those papers? That definitely said he wasn't allowed to have them.
The Mar-a-Lago mob boss.
That guy.
Yeah.
He's got a judge that he thinks he owns called Eileen Cannon.
Yes.
Who is presiding over his case about the stolen documents in Florida.
The most experienced Eileen Cannon.
Yeah. She graduated law school in 2024, but she was appointed to the bench in 2020. You can work that out.
He's got a couple lawyers, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Like most of the Supreme Court?
Well, yes, he does. He did get 3.
You got 3 on there.
Got 3. He does have 3.
Fucking Mitch McConnell.
I like beer.
Yes. So do I.
That was troubling. That was a wild time. I can remember that summer very vividly.
You know 100%. 100% of your being that if Beer Can Brett walked in here today, we would be best friends.
Oh, but I would have been best friends with Scalia.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Best friends with Scalia. But
it's like Goomba right there. It's like good old Goomba
Just
right there.
both Italian.
Yeah, me and Mike Tirico.
Yeah. But you, me, and Brett Kavanaugh
They'll be
were
bad.
DC kids
Yeah, right.
who like to drink beer,
Play
and
basketball.
argue about sports and play basketball. We are all basically the same, except for one critical thing.
Yeah. I like to be invited. I like to be invited. For me personally, and I think for the rest of you sickos out there, nasty men, should wait to be invited.
I like to be invited.
Be
It feels
invited.
better.
Yeah, then it goes back to like being that you're wrong. It feels liberating. Like, yeah.
You don't have to be defensive when you get nominated to the Supreme Court.
Yo. Exactly. What was the picture?
Yeah, that's it.
White male entitlement.
Yeah.
Yeah, wrapped up into a neat little croissant. All right,
Yeah.
so anyway,
Chevy Chase's finest.
yep. Okay. Cannon is presiding over this case, and the case is really obvious and open and shut. He took the documents. He wasn't supposed to have the documents. When the archives asked for the documents back, he said no. When the FBI came looking for the documents, he hid them.
Like 13 people have flipped on him and have spoken to the friggin' to the DOJ. Like,
However, here's where this gets very complicated. And I'm going to caveat this by saying that even though this is obviously an example of a judge being way out of their league, it's not necessarily appropriate for the prosecutor to appeal to the higher circuit and say, hey, this person is clearly incompetent. Can you please usurp their position and take over?
yeah, no, they're not.
Which
again,
could happen. Legally,
there's a
it's
process.
possible.
Yeah, but that's not the way to do it.
But it would be not great.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
So
So
we still following the rule of law.
we need to follow the rule of law. So, all right. This is where it gets tricky. There's two laws that are important in this case. One is called the Espionage Act, which says that you can't take U.S. secrets and disseminate them or hold them with the purpose of disseminating them, later for your own personal gains. And then there's also the Presidential Records Act, which was passed after Nixon because Nixon tried to not turn over documents that were U.S. government property and saying that they were personal. And so the PRA, the Presidential Records Act, says everything that the president has while they're president is the public's. It
Including the tapes he was making.
including the tapes that Nixon was making and all of that, and any future tapes and all this stuff. And it hung Clinton, it hung both Bushes. Lots of people, Obama had to deal with this. The Presidential Records Act says that all of your papers, all of your communications, all of your phone calls, everything while you're president belongs to the archives.
And it has to kind of be that way.
It has to be that way because otherwise you would conduct all kinds of shadiness.
Hey, if your own email server.
But even in the sense of the history of the actual the history of the country and what the president is going to do, the archives. That's the whole purpose of being there. Yes. They should be there to take in the historical archive of the country, right? If you believe in the country itself and in the nation, you need to have something like that. So that shouldn't be crazy. Like the president should be one person who falls under that purview.
So that is the sort of deal that we're working in. Okay. So Trump is arguing in this case that, one, these documents don't fall under the Espionage Act because they're his personal documents and therefore they can't be classified or whatever. And he's using the Presidential Records Act to say that, well, these are personal and therefore not classified. So he's using these two things against each other. And nobody on planet Earth thinks this is how this works. And they're specifically written opposed to that. I'm just going to read a little bit of the story because I think it's important. Cannon sounded skeptical of Trump's attack on the Espionage Act and said that probably wasn't where it was going to go. But her 2-page order suggests an openness to some of the defense's claims that the Presidential Records Act allows Trump or other presidents to declare highly classified documents to be their own personal property. National security law experts say that is not what the law says. You can go check. It's not what the law says. Or how it has been interpreted over decades by the courts, particularly given other laws that govern national security secrets. So, she took the motions by the defense and made this weird thing. Normally, jury questions are things that are presented to the jury after the facts of the case have been litigated and argued and handled by the judge. But she told both prosecutors and defense to go write jury questions for two specific scenarios. In the first scenario, Cannon said, the jury would be allowed to review a former president's possession of a record and make a factual finding whether it is, quote, personal or presidential, using the definition set forth in the Presidential Records Act. Confusingly, she added in a footnote that, quote, any separation of powers or immunity concerns shall be included in the discussion if relevant. It's important to note that immunity is a topic for judges to decide, not juries.
Okay, all right. I was just following along for a second. I'm like, wait, how the hell is a jury going to be the ones to decide
So
this?
no legal scholars can figure out what the hell this actually means.
A jury?
Pause. The second scenario Cannon describes as one in which a president, quote, has sole authority under the PRA, that's the Presidential Records Act, to categorize records as personal or presidential during their presidency. Neither a court nor a jury is permitted to make or review such a categorization decision. That second hypothetical would appear to be one in which Trump seemingly could not be convicted under almost any set of facts of improperly possessing classified documents, because he could say that they were his personally. It was not immediately clear how Cannon envisioned a trial potentially based on that premise. So she's making up stuff out of whole cloth.
We got to be careful with this because, right, this is a judge, right, creating now. Like, you're kind of creating things out of thin air.
She is.
Like, out of completely thin air. And later down the line, if this, people could reference this, right? Like, if this, and that, right, this isn't done yet. The case isn't over. But for whatever reason, I've seen it in other things where people will pick these out, like, pick this out and be like, oh, well, jurisprudence in the past has, someone has spoken on this. And it also goes to the same, like, it seems everybody wants to try to get to this presidential immunity on multiple fronts, which doesn't, like, that null and voids the whole concept of judges in a sense, or just like the whole, like, the concept of the Constitution, like, all of it falls apart.
The president being above the law.
It falls apart.
Yeah, it falls apart. Okay, we're back to the Magna Carta.
Yeah, right.
Like, we're at that point.
What are we doing?
We're just like, it's nobility and whatever. You can do whatever you want. There's no recourse.
Divine right of kings.
Yeah, you're
might as well be.
Might as well be.
That's. I just don't know how judges, how one branch of the three branches of government would want to null and void themselves.
Well, let's say you find a nice, well-meaning, but particularly stupid young person, and you offer them this job, and you say, listen, all I need you to do in this job is use big words and hold your rank above anything else. And if anybody questions you, you go, hey, I'm the fucking ranking whatever the fuck, and then call me. You might find somebody willing to take that job, and her name might be Eileen Cannon.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I mean, this is the time that the circuit court needs to step in and go, yo, you're way out of your depth here. I mean, this woman is not capable of this job. I mean, there are several hundred people who are capable of doing this job. She just ain't one of them.
I even think there might be people who could come up with a better creative way to even, like, keep this open or like it can't be this can't be the reason.
I don't think that Eileen Cannon is qualified to judge a hot dog contest. Like, she is just way out of her depth here.
Because again, these are just
she's making up shit. You're making things up again, Arnold. Like, it's that.
I assume the Presidential Records Act was the act passed by Congress, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's passed by
1978.
Right. Okay. And
which the people who wrote it are still alive and can tell you what they meant and all of that stuff.
But even then,
one of them is still a congresswoman.
Even then, it would be judges that would go and reference what they meant versus the judge. Jurors involved in this doesn't even make. I'm like, what are we talking about now? How we got bills passed by Congress that now we're bringing in a jury in
to interpret?
No. Man. What is going on?
James Madison was like, yo, that's definitely what I meant.
That's crazy. Like, I think like a basic level of like just civics, like you don't got to be deep into history at all.
We're not lawyers.
No, but like
we know enough.
The Congress passed a law that now a jury is going to look into.
No,
doesn't work that way.
No. I don't know what country Eileen Cannon's in.
It would be so funny if this was a movie or like a mini series that didn't affect real people's lives.
Like Pauly Shore, Jury Duty 2 or something.
But just any, I would watch this.
It's like My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah.
But like with high stakes.
Yeah, very high stakes.
It couldn't have possibly been the thing because a 61 Buick didn't have a positive traction or whatever. Like, it would have been that. It should be that.
Yeah.
We need Marissa Tomei to argue this. She'd be dynamite. Put her on the witness stand.
What are we doing? Oh, my God.
You want to take a break?
Yeah.
All right. Here's what we're going to do.
Lord. Again, a jury. Let me just keep going. Let me go back to this, right?
There was a horse in the hospital.
Congress passes the law. They pass the law.
And the executive branch executes the law.
Right.
And the judicial branch
interprets
the law, whether it's being executed correctly. Yes.
When could a jury come in and start to look into the laws that have been passed by Congress? It doesn't work that way. I don't even know.
She knows that, though. It's all part of this delay thing, right? She works for Trump.
Yeah.
She's not a real judge. So she works for Trump. Her job is to throw, fuel on the fire and make this worse. So now we got to go litigate whether she has authority to do X, Y, or Z. We have to go litigate whether a jury can have this question, whether this can be part of the whole.
That's so dangerous that we can even put that in the record.
Drag it out.
But even to have that in the record that a jury that we ever thought about doing that.
That's not really the danger. The danger here is that because we have to convict him 6 ways from Sunday above board, we have to follow every possible tangent and down every possible rabbit hole to close that gate before we get to the actual meat of the question, which is, did he fucking take the documents home or not?
Fifth Circuit has.
Which he
to your
did.
Point, Fifth Circuit has.
That's 11th Circuit, but
yes. 11th Circuit, yes.
Yeah, the 11th Circuit's got to step in, nix her out of this.
Yeah.
But when that happens...
Who comes in next?
It doesn't matter. The story that the Trumpistas are going to tell is the deep state took her out.
Cool.
It's all unfair.
Cool story, bro.
So we have to keep going.
Cool story.
Yeah,
cool story.
Keep doing that.
Because again, those people were not getting back
under the jail. Well, that's unfair. We didn't under the jail. I don't care. We're the riots. It's unfair. Under the jail. You know what? Several jails. Put them on top.
They'll assimilate and drive on the new roads and new bridges, and maybe they'll...
Motherfuckers, they don't even care about those new bridges. They don't even believe that they're there.
They do. They
while
drive
they're driving across
they do. They believe
They go, fuck Joe Biden while they drive across the bridge that he built them. I wish he could just turn it on and off like Thanos.
I do not agree with that.
Yeah. All right. Brian wants to go to the break. We're going to go to the break. That's what that means. Yeah. When we get back, we're going to talk to our guest, Early Bird, about...
The real part of the show.
Yeah, the real part of the show that we wanted to talk about.
Not this
All right, you're listening to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps!
shine too bright, don't dim your light. In this world, sometimes you have to fight, but the fire inside, don't lose sight, don't dim your light. Even if they say that you shine too bright, don't dim your light. In this world, sometimes you have to fight, but the fire inside, don't lose sight. Always present authentically, be who you were meant to be. They say if you can't be free, be a mystery, but never compromise your dignity. There were times when I let others extinguish my genius. Was in doubt, some are jealous when you shine like the fire of Prometheus. Not everybody can reach that state that forms hate. They don't want to see you shine. Bottom line, they try to undermine cause they ain't comfortable being reminded that they're dim while you shine so bright. Not everybody's gonna like what you do, but the right people might be inspired by you. So let the colors of your rainbow show, and don't mind those trying to stop your glow. Don't dim your light, even if they say that you shine too bright. Don't dim your light. In this world, sometimes you have to fight, but the fire inside, don't lose sight. Don't dim your light, even if they say that you shine too bright. Don't dim your light. In this world, sometimes you have to fight, but the fire inside, don't lose sight.
Listen, stars are made to shine. Darkness gon' come, but right now it's your time. Even then, still light up the night and guide others. Black skin, yet there's still light in my brothers. Some would rather you shrink and not think for yourself. Impede your growth and then hope you won't excel. Jeopardize your health and wealth, hiding your brilliance. Drowning out the noise requires stillness. A comedian shared a hard truth with me that wasn't funny. Told me that they kill people like you when I was 20. Could have gone a safer route like many and played the dummy. But I chose to put integrity first over money. Chose truth over fiction while many refused to listen and follow their own heart. I made it my life mission. Never let somebody blinded by fear cloud your vision. I'll end it right here, but only on one condition. Don't dim your light.
Even if they say that you shine too bright, don't dim your light. In this world, sometimes you have to fight, but the fire inside, don't lose sight. Don't dim your light. Even if they say that you shine too bright, don't dim your light. In this world, sometimes you have to fight, but the fire inside, don't lose sight. They might call you weird or queer, but what's really speaking is their fear. Unquestioned assumptions are the real authorities, only time will reveal. Don't be afraid to express how you feel, especially if it's at odds with the culture. Those who appreciate you being real will help you get where you're supposed to go. Sometimes it feels like you can't cope, like the lifeboat is sinking, like you're hanging from a thin rope. You may want to dim your light, but don't. When in survival mode, focus on hope. Together, we are unstoppable. Heal your wounds and start to grow. Let the colors of your rainbow show, and don't mind those trying to stop your glow.
To be more.
Good to know.
All right, welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Tez.
What's popping up?
Hanging out with us is Early Bird. That was
Yes.
that was your song. Which song was that?
That was Don't Dim Your Light featuring Substantial, also produced by Chrome. Shout out to Chrome. Shout out to Substantial.
Oh,
Substantial
pretty great.
just got back from Nepal and
Yeah.
Japan, so he's doing big things.
Oh, always.
Nepal is like a hike. Like,
Yeah,
you
he
can't
was
really
showing
get
me
to
the
Nepal.
roads in Nepal. So if you ever want to be scared, he said he had a show that was an hour and a half away, and he's like, "Why don't we just drive there?" And the lady just laughed, and he Googled roads in Nepal. They all go through the Himalayas.
Right.
So
God.
if you want to get scared, look at some YouTube videos of these buses.
He
these,
posted some videos
yeah,
of the roads.
those unpaved roads on
Yeah.
a cliff with like
so it took like 6 hours to get there.
he had to fly there because
But
he
he had
didn't
to take
he-
a helicopter.
Yeah,
to
he's
get
not
there.
he's not taking the buses.
It's dangerous.
It's very dangerous. Yes.
Well, yeah, and he's an American superstar.
Exactly.
Why should he have to take this third world country public transportations
But he tried to, though.
like those 700 series Metro car?
Oh, the new
Oh, we
one.
got new ones. They're
See,
made
there's
of
new
cake.
one.
Did you see?
Everything's made of cake.
Yeah, but they had a video where they cut the cake. They had a nothing inspires confidence like making a subway car out of cake that you can cut.
But the new train's supposed to be,
Stay on the tracks?
I mean, here's the thing. That's all.
That's all we're
Let's
asking.
start there. I love the bike. I love the bike racks.
Yeah.
I love. It seems spacious. It looks like it's more equipped for like if Greg Abbott comes to town, like it's better.
Between two cars, pretty easily. Yeah, it's a nice touch.
I seems nice, but the main thing we need these things to do:
stay on the tracks.
Stay on the tracks.
Please don't jump, and just be
brake.
Cool. Yeah.
You should brake.
Stop.
Eventually, we probably need to go back to operated by a person.
By persons.
Yeah.
Not on the red line. You can run on the silver line. There's no people on that yet.
Yeah, not yet. They're trying. There was, and then they started.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Okay. Early Bird. Hi.
Hello.
You have a new album coming out.
Man, be working.
Which we're going to get to in a bit. But we invited you here because we want to talk about another project that you did using AI.
Yes, I have a lot of friends who went to art school, and a lot of them have been kind of frustrated with art, and then the visual AI art came out, and that kind of reinvigorated their love or their passion for art because they were kind of burnt out on doing art, and then being able to generate stuff through some of these programs that do visuals. You can do video, you can do Photoshop elements, you can generate stuff. And then my friend who has been reinvigorated by making videos, my friend Jeff, shout out to Jeff, he sent me this program where you type words in and it makes music for you. So we made a couple of tracks. I found that if you let it generate the lyrics, it usually doesn't do a good job. It's still kind of learning how to write rap lyrics. Kind of does the like, I love Fruity Pebbles in a major way type of cadence, you know? But so I messed around with it
when the level I'm at.
I messed around with it when I got it for the first 4 hours, just messing around with it, just seeing the capabilities of it. And I was pretty taken aback by how good it did with interpreting my flow. And I mean, obviously I think a human can still rap better. We're still, it hadn't beat Kasparov. Deep Blue hasn't beat Kasparov yet. So we're still safe in the rap department.
That's a chess joke.
But it is pretty good. It's better than I thought it would be. It's not as clumsy as I thought it would be. So what really impressed me the most, and we'll get to this later, we got a couple segments that I generated that neither of these gentlemen have heard yet.
Correct.
Where Chip sent me some lyrics that he wrote, and I made them into snippets. It makes about a minute-long snippet for each thing that you generate. It only takes about 30 seconds to do.
Wow.
It'll make the beat. It does the raps. It has a voice that raps. It has a voice. It does the beat. You can describe like lo-fi, boom bap, old school.
Wow.
And it'll make a beat that sounds like that.
That's like when you go to the YouTube and when you go to YouTube and you're like alchemist type beat.
Yes. you can't do that on the AI.
But it's the same. You can tell it like lo-fi.
You can't use a name though.
It knows enough.
It knows enough. It's been trained on. I'm sure it's listened to thousands of hours.
Yeah.
Well, and as we're doing this, we're making it smarter. So, but you made a whole album out of it.
I did, and then I took it down because I needed to take a step back. I was just messing around with it just to see what reaction I would get.
So I'm one of the few people that got to hear this because
you heard it, and then I took it down.
Out, and I was like, I sent you a message almost right away.
Yeah.
I was like, this is dangerously good. I think that might have been the exact words that I said. This is dangerously good and radio playable.
Yeah.
Because
the
it
thing
sounds
that
like
really
something that goes on the radio.
The thing that really moved the needle for me, and I have one track at the end we'll probably play. I made one where I wrote an R&B song, and the level of singing on it, I played it for people, and I'm like, that's a robot. And people are like, that's not a robot.
Wow.
It just, it sings on key. The phrasing could maybe be worked with a little bit, but if you were doing a demo for like a pop star, you could write something in here and then have the pop star use it as a vocal guide. So
it's there.
Did you have to do any fine tuning at all for it? Or is that just the first try? Spit it out. That
it spits. You put the lyrics in, then you describe what you want the song to sound like.
Okay.
And then it'll give you two versions, and none of them are longer than like 2 minutes.
Okay.
And what I did, I had to take a step back from it because it was kind of freaking me out. But I did make one song, and then I isolated the vocals, and I made a beat a traditional way and tried to add my own lyrics to it. But I don't know what I'm doing with music and this technology yet. I haven't really put a lot of time into it. I've just been messing around with it, just kicking the tires. So we have some lyrics that Chip has written. We have, I think, 4 songs with Chip lyrics. 3 of them are raps. One of them it actually started singing.
Wow.
We have
I want to know what part of these bars it's starting to sing.
We have a promo I made for the ChipChat radio show.
Yeah. Hey.
And then we have a song that's just an R&B song that I made that shows off the singing capabilities of the AI. So you guys have not heard any of this.
No.
You sent me lyrics that ChipChat wrote, and you want to play the first one?
All right, so Brian, you want to hit the first one? All right, let's hear it.
This is from my upcoming album. This is the wrong track.
Not that one.
Yeah, this is the wrong track.
Go to chipchat.mp3. I have it in the script.
That sounded good.
Cipher. We coming to the track feeling kind of hyper. The known leaders of the Beltway radio make the ladies say yeah and the fellas say yo. We're trying out this new A, I call it the new method. Separate, and we would probably call this track tepid. We don't care that the robot is rapping, as long as it gets the place toe tap. Our man Bird did the digital like a Bobby. The software did the beat like it's a new hobby. Musicians make music with what they have available. The robot can make nearly anything sellable. If this new song becomes a big hit, Early Bird and his beat collect half the profit. Hits climb north and sometimes birds fly south. Nothing that you're hearing came out of my mouth. This is Chip's robot and his voice is kind of whack, but at least it took no effort get him on the track.
There you go.
Chip's rap dreams are alive.
Yeah, that's dangerous. All right, first of all, did I write something pretty decent?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
thanks.
I will get. We'll get 2 bells on that one there. I would have to listen to that multiple times.
Hit it again, Brian.
Wait, no, what? Before,
we have other versions.
Yeah, I want to take just that one in. I was listening to see if it hit the fellas, and it would say, yo. Because now I'm like, well, wait, as I heard it, I'm like, well, if you're going to start that way, like, how deep are you going to go into that?
Right.
I did find it interesting, like, with the hyphens in between saleable. That was very interesting.
It almost caught up to it.
That's kind of, that's
because one of the things that
that's jarring in a weird way, yo. In a weird way, that's very jarring.
So have you ever talked to somebody who doesn't listen?
The beat to every, like,
have you ever talked to somebody who doesn't listen to hip hop and tried to explain to them how you can make words rhyme that don't rhyme?
Yes.
And you tell them you can lean on the
like
certain
assonance
sounds.
and
You can lean on the vowel sounds or whatever. And so, like, that was the available and saleable, and I was wondering if the robot was going to catch it, and it did.
Yeah.
That's really unsettlingly good.
The way it was on, like, the beat itself that it decided to create.
So you didn't make the beat.
I didn't make the beat.
It made the beat.
I described the beat. I said, like, lo-fi, old school, hip-hop, underground, something like that. And
that's scary.
It took like 30 seconds. It processed the lyrics and
dangerous.
spits it out there.
Can we listen to that track again?
Oh, I don't know if he wants to listen to it here. He wants to keep on hearing his rhymes over.
No,
and over again.
we got more versions of it.
We have another version of
Let's
that
hear a new
version.
version of
The other version?
Yes, I want to go.
All right,
very intrigued.
hit the one that says copy. Okay.
On Cypher, we coming to the track feeling kinda hyper. The known leaders of the Beltway radio make the ladies say yeah and the fellas say yo. We're trying out this new AI, call it the new method. Separate in the woo would probably call this track tepid. We don't care that the robot is rapping, as long as it gets the place toe tapping. Our man Bird did the digital like a Bobby. The software did the beat like it's a new hobby. Musicians make music with what they have available, and the robot can make nearly anything sellable. If this new song becomes a big hit, Early Bird and his beat collect half the profit. Hits climb north and sometimes birds fly south, but nothing that you're hearing came out of my mouth. This is Chip's robot and his voice is kinda whack, but at least it took no effort to get him on the track.
So that's like a lot less, background and
what's
and
the
beat or
description on
whatever.
that on the beat?
I probably put it spits out 2 for every time you process it.
Interesting.
So it gives you options.
So that's both the same lo-fi.
Yeah, it's the same description. So I think I just kept the description for most of the stuff.
Wow, that's very interesting.
The second verse, I know one of them was singing, so I think I put like female vocalist or something. And that's why I was singing. But it's fascinating because like
I was gonna make me famous.
I mean, yeah, it could.
It could
easily,
right? Because I can write
easily,
but I can't rap.
But I don't
need to rap because I got the robot.
I find it interesting where there's more. Where there's no offense to you, right? You're just getting into this.
Please.
But but like where there's.
Listen, PlayStation 1, MTV.
Oh God! Yes, I know the exact game you're talking about.
It's not a game.
Oh, it's a game.
It's a game.
It is. It's games on PlayStation. It's a game.
It was literally the way that we could sample.
Yes, I know what you.
But it was the way that we could do it.
Yes,
in 2001.
I'm very aware of that. I'm very aware of that. PlayStation game. It was a game. Don't say it was not a game.
MTV Beats.
Oh God. God, I hope I didn't lose my thought on this. Oh, that
no offense to me, I can write really well, but you don't think I'm any good at it.
Where there were too many words, it kind of sped up to kind of condense, like as if I knew I had put too many words inside a specific area of the verse. It did it to the beat, and I was like, oh, I can see where, right, and you can still hear it, but like. It's so new to do that. That's wild.
Yeah. It's not like the Barney Rubble rap, you know?
It new to like,
so
there's a lot of words. It did on the flip,
available and available, but it had a few little stumbles where it sounded like that's not the way I would have done it. If
it's a robot.
Right.
It's still being ironed
so
out.
it's still getting there.
It's going to get better, though, every time you do it.
So every time we feed it stuff, it's getting better.
Yeah.
So, the rest of the world should be ready for a chip hop.
Chip hop. He's taking hip hop. It's not. Look, that's crazy. It's no longer hip hop. It's hip hop. Do that on the own island that you can either go and be a dictator of. You can't just take it. What the hell? You have to go be your benevolent dictator. Chip hop. That's a Freudian slip. That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
Do you want to hear the second verse?
Yes.
All right. Hold on.
Do we have Ghost?
We have a second verse.
Yes.
But you also wrote us a theme song.
Yeah. Do you want to play that next?
I don't know. Brian, what do you think?
The theme song is all sung.
Oh, the theme song. All right. Well, then don't
no
play
rapping
that.
on the theme song.
Let's go ahead and hit the...
Oh, wow. See? Look at that. He said, look at...
Well, I haven't heard any
of of course. I was like, why'd you say that? I was like, why would you go that hard against it?
All right, let's go. I haven't heard it, so I don't know.
True hip-hop. He said, I don't want to hear that singing shit.
No, I don't want to.
He sung in the 80s.
Radio. We got so much, so give you the news in case you didn't know. Keep the public well informed of the topic. Sometimes the news today is hard to process. That's why Chip and Tess will help you out, let you know what we're all about. We may tell jokes, we may drink a couple beers, and we thank you for listening all these years. Chip Chat Radio, and we're your host. I hope you enjoy what we promote.
Okay. That's something.
Oh. They're giving me so
you
much
wrote the lyrics, right?
I wrote the lyrics,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So much it came up with the melody and everything.
Yeah. And like, even down to like, it picked its own EQ and mix of that, right, too. Even that is crazy in itself.
Yeah. You didn't balance that
no,
at
I
all.
didn't do anything to it.
There's no production.
No production at all, just describing the beat.
That's some audiophile shit to be listening to the mix of it, but I think that's important that it knows to take the lyrics the prompt, and then like to even still find like I didn't think it would find like the actual like because that song is EQ'd and sounds a certain way, right?
Yeah.
There's a sound to that.
To drink a few beers.
Yeah, there's a sound to like how that was done, and jeez, oh man,
I think I used the prompt like neo soul and female vocalist,
right? And it, wow. I'm a little lost for words here.
Show, so thank you.
Yes, yes.
That's very, very much on you.
Yes, perfect.
Definitely what we do here. All right.
Two more raps. There's one more rap with the second verse, and there's a version of it singing the second verse.
All right. I'm a little worried to hear what these sound like.
Crazy.
Another chapter in history, another verse. Trump promises political violence, but no hers. MTG and Shapiro try to rap, but don't rehearse. These right-wing nuts can't get any better. Just
this is very Alex Jones.
Sorry. The Republic, like Tez on the golf course. It ain't private, just public. When we have a drink in the bar, it's not beer, it's a public. It's hard to get something to rhyme with this subject. If we get famous, we can give a shout out to Brian. To get us out on time is what he'd be trying. The show is like a custom feathered avian in those words. How can we stay late when our guest is early bird? In conclusion, the message is to go out and serve folks, whether that's through art, music, or if you just tell jokes. We seek to medicate your ears, hope you eradicate your fears. And thanks for sticking with us through all of these years.
That it knew to do that. That it knew to do that on the end of that. To do that on the 4 at the end of the verse is kind of insane. That it knows, it listens to that, and like.
My favorite thing is that it got trying Brian and on time to rhyme.
Back to that point of like taking words and knowing how to like
that I sound in the verb and that's crazy. And that it got subject to rhyme with public.
Yeah.
Which I wrote it that way because I know that I can do that as a human being, but I didn't think that the robot could do that.
Another chapter in the history, but that's where it got a little Alex Jonesy right there on that one, but with a neo soul vibe. Which this is why it's dangerous because then you can start doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a complicated lyric.
Right.
Right? I didn't
of course, yeah, exactly.
But I specifically wrote it to rhyme at the end of the bar and across the bar.
But even the vocal inflections as well, too, is crazy.
But that's why I wanted to test if it was going to do that. Because if it's got the medicated and eradicated, and then fears and ears, right? So that's a double rhyme. That's across the bar and at the end of the bar.
Right.
And it got it. That wasn't, I mean, for human beings, this is an easy thing to do, right?
Yeah, but
a
for
robot
computer,
that's insane.
We read a poet and we can see that this is what they were going after, and okay, I get it. You know, even if you've never heard it, right? You just read it and you can absorb that. But this thing picked it right up.
And it's going to get better.
And there's
it's
a
gonna
rap
get
version
better.
of that too.
Yeah.
What's the fast version of that one?
The rap version of it,
of that.
The second verse of this, right?
Oh, the second verse. No, there's a ChipChat copy part 2.
Was that the first one you put?
That one already played?
Then ChipChat
there should be a rap
2.
version of it. Okay.
The first one you played.
First one, Fire and Flames, that was.
Oh, yeah, okay.
No, we played that one.
Pretty much I played all 4 ChipChat songs.
Okay, there should be a 5th one, but maybe it didn't get.
That was like a double.
No, it's not a double. It just has.
I should have named it better when I emailed it to you. That's my fault.
Well, we can play it later. But like,
the point has been made.
This is dangerously good, and it's only going to get better.
I guess now the question goes into like, right? You can be alarmed by this is one, like there's one way you can be, and that's all right, cool. But again, if it's already doing this and we know it's going to get better, I think we have to kind of embrace it in a sense and almost like, again, look at it as another tool.
Well, you're not going to fight it.
You can't fight it. And again, I think leaning in on what humans are great at doing, why we're one of the most successful animals. We are the successful animal on the planet.
The cheetahs.
We beat because, again, we know how to use tools.
They're way fast, but we've got tools.
You know, we have tools, and we know how to, again, should know how to cooperate. Exactly, right? We should be able to know how to cooperate. We should. So, again, this should be another tool where it's like, all right, like, is there a way, like, I remember hearing you saying this earlier, where it's like, all right, I played around with it, but then I took what it made, took a beat, like how you would traditionally make a beat. And, like, again, these are, like, it's tools that end up getting used. So I'm interested to see how the tool gets used. You can be alarmed by it because there's a lot to be alarmed by.
Well, you have writer's block, or you got a singer who doesn't show up, or you just want to test some ideas out, a reference track.
Yeah, like, and I think, like, people might say.
So imagine a scenario where I write this, okay? I wrote these lyrics. They're mid at best, okay? And I run them through the AI, and I learn to rap like the demo track.
Yeah.
And then I go in the studio, and I present this as me rapping.
Yeah.
Is that me rapping? Or is it me learning to sing a song?
Is this the audio books versus the audio? Are you reading versus listening? Is that what this is? I don't know. I mean, did you write the words?
Yeah, I did.
I assume if you've written the words, they're yours.
Yeah.
But so, like, I speak Spanish now.
Yeah.
Okay, but 5-year-old me did not speak Spanish, but could sing La Bamba like I did speak Spanish.
Okay.
Because I learned it phonetically.
The song, yeah.
But you didn't write La Bamba.
No, I didn't.
There's the difference. There, right there. If you've written this
but
shit.
how do you argue that? I mean,
how do you argue if you've written it? There's a law. We already have, I think, laws in place to do that.
You'd think.
We do.
This thing can scrape the internet for anything. So you say, write me a song that is, about this content with this type of rhyme scheme in this style of rap, and then it gives it to you, and then you learn it. And then you walk in the studio, and that's yours.
I see where you're going with that. I
don't mean to you present what the robot made as your own. I'm saying you let it
a reference track.
You use it as a reference track, and then you.
How's
walk
that different than having a ghostwriter, though?
And they're there already.
It is,
a lot of
people do that anyway.
Different than a ghostwriter, but it's a robot ghostwriter. There's no person getting.
You just
paid.
don't. You have the words written. You don't know how to enunciate them, so you let the machine do it.
The words written.
That's
too.
fair.
Yeah.
That part. That's where I'll say it can get a little like.
Go write me a rhyme about Robert Kennedy Jr. being the worst third-party candidate in the history of voting, who happens to have a bus fall on him.
There's worse third-party candidates. All right, but continue. Keep cooking. Keep cooking.
VP nominee who also has a bus fall on him in a lo-fi style.
It'll write it for you.
Right, and then I'll go in there, cut the track, and I'll be headlining the DNC convention.
So this is where, you might be on that one. This is where the regulation has to come in, because I do think there needs to be. The
second you regulate it, somebody's going to find a way in North Korea to do it or whatever.
That's fine.
How do you stop it?
I don't think you're going to stop it. I think you need to be like, there needs to be a partnership between, again, whether it's creators. Again, the federal government does need to be a partner in this as well, too, because the drawbacks when this shit can get out of hand, like that whole like existential threat to like humanity is real.
There one more track, Brian?
I think there's an R&B track called Riddle. I think I sent him.
Yeah.
That's an R&B track I made.
I forwarded that to you as well.
Yeah, but again, there should be like a partnership, and like I keep saying, the cat is out of the bag. You're not going to be able to put this back in. Like, you need to, again, understand it. And I think the best thing that can happen is folks understand it.
Are you able to hear the difference?
No, it's very hard right now. And I think you should. I think these platforms should be open and honest and transparent, like some type of digital watermark that alerts you to this. Like, that has to be there.
Well, what if people lie about that? when they submit.
I'm sure they're probably already using this at the labels.
I'm sure they are.
I think that's where you need the large language model sets to like it has to be incorporated. Like this has to be baked into this.
What if somebody just goes around that? What if they make something that's not within those parameters? You know,
it's zeros and ones. So at a certain point, you should be able to identify this shit. There's gonna be some way of doing that because as this technology advances, it's just markets how they work. There's gonna be other technology that needs to suss it out. That's just how it works.
That's what it's going to have to be.
It's going to be that. There's the same when someone is creating AI, someone out there is like, shit, I'm gonna make a lot of money by something that can identify AI. Like that, it has to be happening.
It's like Shazam for AI.
I'm telling, there you go, exactly, very simple.
Shazai.
Yeah, should have said that on the radio. Should have kept that one in their heart and figured that out yourself.
You should have.
Exactly. That shit. Like you should have kept that one to yourself.
Let's see if this is it.
All right,
let's see this work.
Go ahead, Brian.
You are a billionaire.
Sorry, I didn't even have to write the code for it. The AI could have.
I think this is one of the ones with the rapping on it.
Another chapter in history, another verse. Trump promises political violence, but no hearse. MTG and Shapiro try to rap, but don't rehearse. These right-wing nuts can't get any better, just worse. Tez and Chip out here trying to save the republic like Tez on the golf course. It ain't private, just public. When we have a drink in the bar, it's not beer, it's a public. It's hard to get something to rhyme with this subject. If we get famous, we can give a shout out to Brian. To get us out on time is what he be trying. The show is like a custom feathered avian that knows words. How can we stay late when our guest is Illy Bird? In conclusion, the message is to go out and serve folks, whether that's through art, music, or if you just tell jokes. Seek to medicate your ears, hope you eradicate your fears. Thanks for sticking with us through all these years.
When it advances, though, right, it's gonna say, or if you tell jokes and remove, it's gonna give like Grammarly suggest that's where it's gonna go. I can look at this and I can hear it, and I'm like, oh my god, I can already see what
adjust it a little
when
bit.
It starts to adjusting it. Oh god,
because if you were to read that,
and
rhyme it, it's not far off.
No, not at all, not at all.
That one was really different. The way it rhymed, Tryon, and Brian.
Okay.
The hyphen, how the hyphen played, because now I'd be interested to see like, what if you put like 3 hyphens in it? What is it gonna do there? Like, what would it do?
It's gonna speak like a person. Like it.
But what does that mean?
Us.
What does it think when it sees like if you extended the hyphens out? Will it know? Like, does it know what? Do you know what
pause,
you? Yeah, like a
running
pregnant pause. Or
every example of hip hop it can find, and it's trying to see what's the most likely thing about how that would rhyme.
It's got all the 50 years of reference to pull from, you know.
And
what is
so
it from? And then also too, you think as well too, even lyrics like. From Genius to what was the one I used to print? What is it? Original Hip Hop Archive, Lyric Archive. That one, the green site. It was green, very early internet. But yeah, like it has the lyrics there. Wow,
and it's got all of the reference tracks, and it can scrape YouTube and listen to all of these things.
They have the technology now where you can separate the tracks and just get the vocal tracks. So
right,
do that too.
So it's listening to the inflection and the tone,
intonation, all that.
Yes, all of that. I would be if I was a real MC, I would be very worried.
No way in hell. No way in hell.
That's where the challenge is.
Like, exactly, right?
Like, how do you make something human then? If an AI can do it, what do I have to adapt to my process to make it more human, you know?
Why do you have to change because the robot is after you?
Well, because they let the cat out of the bag. That's why. It's not our fault that the
John
robot
Henry and the steam engine, you know?
Yeah, but John Henry beat the steam engine.
Yeah, he died in the process.
Song, right? Yeah. Listen,
there's no way in hell. Like
I don't have an AI to teach me to write bluegrass.
This shit, and see, but there's where kind of like I think the difference between
Can you make it write bluegrass?
Well, you can make it any genre, but the thing I think that really is going to carry the torch is the younger generation, because they're built into this. This isn't like.
Right.
We have a process we've been doing. I've been making music like almost 30 years. So I have a process I've been doing. I've been refining. The young generation, this is how it is. It's just, that's the way music is. It's on the internet. They know the internet. And they're going to take this and who knows what they're going to do with it, but it'll probably
So if I send you bluegrass lyrics, you can write a bluegrass song with this.
Yes, you can do any genre. You go to the website, you can get like hard rock, you can get heavy metal, you can get any.
I'm going to send you a bunch of stuff. We're going to make an entire album of me yelling stuff into a Google Doc.
At first I could talk about this for like 4 more hours.
It's going to be amazing. We'll cut you in.
Please, thank you. First of all, like I think just the essence of being like a human and like Homo sapien, the robot is never gonna be more human than me, right? I think at the end of the day, I
hope so.
No, the hope is where you fail on that one. The human, like I think as just a human is like because also too, it's you like right when it figures out what it's been fed. That challenges you to like, hey, well, what can I do differently? And I think the robot's waiting for me to learn to do something different. It needs me.
It's gonna learn it though.
Cool, all right, that's fine.
And then make something new.
And then I hope that's where it goes. I also think too, like, right. I remember when I saw GarageBand kind of for the first time, and like even Pro Tools to an extent, and it was like, oh. This has now made it more accessible.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's made it more accessible. And I hope that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I hope that's a good right.
Less barriers for people. I mean, you can make a bluegrass album now.
Yeah, and like, I'm trying to be positive about this. You are very skeptical because I know the other part of it is when it becomes more accessible, the market becomes flooded with everybody being able to do it. Now, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
I don't think it's a bad thing.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I know why people would argue it's a bad thing. Yeah. I know why. I see your faces.
The last time I was here, I was talking about how I think it's great that everybody can make a mixtape, but now we have the technology where everybody can make a mixtape. So
yeah, and look, if this is your outlet and it like,
it's fun. Yeah, I gotta admit, it's playing.
We can't be anti-fun at this point.
I'm not gonna like disregard that. I had a good time writing this stuff, sending it to you and hearing it back. That was a exhilarating experience for me. But I will say that I worry about the way this can turn dark.
You should. I think that's good. Okay.
I think it is a thing that we should. In the same way that people picked up Guitar Hero and said, "Oh, look, I can play music now," and you go, "No, you just learned to play this particular video game." It's not the same thing.
Well, there are going to be those people who take it far enough for it to be art, and there are going to be those who do it casually, you know?
I'm all for that.
Yeah.
The malicious actors, I think, is where
That's where I'm very, very worried.
Like copying somebody famous. They already did that with the Drake.
The Weekend one?
Yeah.
I'm just... People's ability to
discern
the difference between reality and fiction is already at the lowest it's been in my lifetime.
It's going to get lower.
And it's going to get lower. And we are going to be in a world, if you look at, there are other countries that are already there.
Yeah.
Right? There are places, Pakistan is a really good example. I lean on that heavily on the show, but this is a good example because I know people from there and this is what they tell me. Nobody there trusts anything.
Oh, wow.
There's no agreed upon reality. All right? That is a disaster. It's a disaster for politics. It's a disaster for art. It's a disaster for literature. It's a disaster for everything. Where something comes out and people go, that's fake. That's phony. Somebody made that with the computer. They did it in their basement with the iPhone or whatever. And it just is not, there's not that making something with your iPhone is somehow inherently bad, but if somebody worked really hard on producing a song or something and everybody dismisses it as fake because the rest of the ecosystem is flooding the zone with a bunch of fake stuff, that person's whole work is just discounted.
Well, music is already devalued to the point where people don't even pay for it anymore. So, I mean,
good points.
I mean, you're right.
How lower can the bar go?
That's nihilistic.
A little bit, but I think it's that
we shouldn't contribute.
No,
to
but
it.
it's that this tool can't take it really any lower. Like if we're just focusing on music alone, someone should be able to take this from music. Like if we're just doing music alone, right? Let's take out the deep fakes that could go on and show that nuclear bomb or something has went off. So I get that piece. That's all right. Okay, that's a little different. All right, let's remove that. But for music, as a tool in music, it's another tool, and like technology has been progressing from the beginning. I'm pretty sure, again, the printing press, kind of bad. People print bad books. There's been bad books. It's been like, again, written text. As technology advances, we have to deal with this. And again, one thing that we have, and not always the greatest, and it's sometimes taking us a long time, but through every iteration of this in history, as humans, we've dealt with this shit. And we keep moving on. Like, and there'll be more shit.
Like the radio came out. The radio came out and everybody thought that the War of the Worlds was a real broadcast.
I'm not like anti-technology. I'm not
but
I'm not being a Luddite and saying like this is a problem. I'm saying that we're building systems that can defeat our bullshit filters faster than we're building our bullshit filters.
Fair. I'll get that. I'll take that.
We are at a risk of a place where somebody like me, who does not have the experience of being an MC, can plausibly create music that represents as if I am, while also plausibly creating music as if I grew up in the valley, the Shenandoah Valley, which I did not. I could do both at the same time with one set of lyrics.
Yeah, I mean, it's music. What's the harm in that?
Because authenticity matters.
It does.
And it will still matter, but this is just another avenue. There are, I think, 200,000 songs uploaded like every day to like Spotify. Like 90% of them have like no one even listened to them. So, it's a struggle to be heard anyway, you know?
Remember when Macklemore hit?
Number one, he hit it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, what the fuck is this? And then it turned out, and he meant it earnestly. To give him his credit, he wasn't like surfing on somebody else's wave or anything like that. He was trying to like join in, and he's not trying to eclipse a culture or anything like that.
He actually put some of the founding rappers on his next record after he got popular.
He did everything he could to try to make amends for it after the fact. But what happened was
backlash.
He made a record that was in the style of something, and people got hip to it, and then they saw who made it, and then they had a reaction to it that was different.
Hip-hop's always had this authenticity level of purity versus non-purist.
But it's not the only genre that has it. What I'm saying is that you have this problem where this could happen, and now we have a tool that can make somebody less talented than Macklemore.
But people are always going to argue back and forth on this. It's not like that. There'll be people who will say like, "Oh, that's just going to be there. Oh, you did this with AI." Like the same way people would be like, "Oh,
but what if you did it earnestly and people say that's AI?"
Okay. As much as I've heard this, and I'm gonna date back everything here.
Okay.
Brian's a lot older than
I'm a lot older.
Okay.
Older than you think.
He was born in 1913.
Everybody in this room knows about Milli Vanilli.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So the way I see this becoming a problem is that aspect. But the thing is, how do you market sound? I mean, mind you, the beat's good. The person who's rapping or singing sounds like someone that you probably would know and be familiar
Can't go on tour.
But the thing is like, how do you visually market this? I mean, you still have music videos, even though it's not. There's MTV is dead and the box is gone and all that stuff.
They tried making a AI rapper, FN Mecca. I don't know if you remember him. It was quickly, the plug was pulled because he couldn't restrain himself from saying a particular word.
Of course. Of course. I was thinking that of me. I said, AI rapper. I said, I know what he was saying.
But they signed him to a deal and then they dropped him after the backlash. So I think that's an example of the BS fact detector that people have. Like, why are we going to buy an AI rapper? But they're trying it. They're trotting it out there. Throwing it at the wall, see if it sticks, you know?
But unless you do something like the Gorillas.
Yeah.
Right. If you do something like that, but when they go on tour, you actually see them. You know the band's there, and you do see a cartoon thing, as they're performing, but at least you are familiar that there's someone there. Something like this, where there's no actual human being, is problematic unless you're doing a virtual thing. Now, mind you, this could be good for, like a Michael Jackson or Whitney Houston type of tour. But the thing is like, would people be willing to pay whatever top dollar to go see a AI generated Michael Jackson or Whitney Houston?
If it's good, yes.
Even if it's good or not.
If it's good, if it's good, they're going.
Everybody knows, let's say this, for those who have never seen them, either live or on television or whatever, they probably never seen them in person ever. No, you have a problem with that.
Well, have you heard about Kiss?
Shows.
They're getting up in age, and they want to replace themselves with holograms of their younger selves.
Well, I took my kids to see Kiss's last show in Baltimore. They played their final 2 shows in New York City at Madison Square Garden. So the third to last Kiss show, my kids were there.
Okay. They have the holograms there?
Nope.
All right.
They were there. And it was great. And my middle one is a huge fanatic and knows all the words to all the songs, and I was really proud of myself.
Would you take them, or do you think they would go on their own power to see the hologram version if that was all that was available?
No, he's going to preach purism, and they will not do that.
No.
No way in hell. No, Daddy told me no.
Yeah, I think that's right.
No.
Raise my kids right.
No,
exactly.
Next
being a parent is communism.
Remember the backlash when they had the Tupac hologram, you know?
I don't like that. It's just not, if you get to
But
be
soon we will not be here, and people will be like, damn, everybody always talk about Tupac. And they're going to do that, and again, it won't be.
Yo, I never saw Elvis, but I like to listen to Elvis.
But we have the video documents.
I went and saw Chuck Berry before he died just to be sure I saw him, even though he wasn't that great by then. And
but what are you going to have?
The bottle. The genie's out of the bottle.
Yeah, but I just, to Brian's point, let's say we take these songs that I wrote, okay? And then we go on tour with the AI version, and I'm the face of it. So I'm just out there Milli Vanilli-ing the shit out of this.
MF Dooming.
Yeah.
You wrote the song, though.
He actually sang his own stuff.
No, you didn't hear about the Doombots?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But you wrote but again, you wrote this. So
but it's still not.
But it's like I said.
Suppose you were the face of it. I know I can't be the one out there doing it.
This is how Milli Vanilli
But suppose I wrote a song that had the N-word in it. I can't be the one.
That's real. Right.
Have you heard what Riff Raff does during his live shows?
No.
He performs, but he has the vocals in the tracks, and he'll say every maybe 2 words every line. Just kind of nods his head.
Same thing.
He's there in person. He's not performing every single word of every bar. He's just sort of hanging out, listening to his music, chiming in every once in a while.
Let me add this.
I don't think I'd go to that show.
It was packed when he came to Springfield.
Right. Well, but let me add this aspect. During COVID, the C word, as a lot of people would say.
Is that the C word?
Whoa. Thank God, Brian.
Whoa.
Okay, but anyway, there's an artist that I really, really like. Her name is Tinashe. She was able to do a live show virtually. Pretty much she's doing, kind of like how 2K games are done. So she had balls all over her head and all that stuff so she can do dance and all this stuff. But the way it is, she's singing, she's performing.
I heard it too.
But visually, you'll see a computer-generated image of herself on.
So she dances and it's like a cat
VR capture kind of
whatever.
Yeah.
It's like See This World from BET back in the day.
But
you love referencing that.
So
it is like that. It's early.
It's I know this artist. I've seen her perform in person. We know her visually. When it comes to something like this, I think it's to me, I feel mind you, everybody will flock to good beats and all that stuff, but how to properly sell this on a consistent basis.
I think to our generation to sell it is a hard sell, but we got a generation of kids who watch other kids play video games online.
I used to think that was crazy. I was like, have you ever been in someone's house when they playing video games and you can't?
Yeah.
And then when
wait your turn.
I'll never forget where I saw that for the first time. I was working retail. And I remember like on a break, and I remember seeing someone. I was like, are they watching someone else play a video game? That goes against the whole type of like. Even sitting around waiting for someone to finish Madden back in the day was excruciating.
Okay, I remember trying to convince my little brother to watch me play Mario by telling him I'm going to make a cartoon happen on the TV. And so he wouldn't ask for the chance to grab the controller. No, you don't know how to do it. Watch the cartoon I'm about to make happen. I get it.
This, again, it's not like...
All right, so what you're saying is I'm about to be an international hip-hop superstar because I can write.
Chip-hop. Yeah, not hip-hop. Chip-hop, man.
Chip-hop is
coming. We should stop talking about this. End this whole show. Because right now, he's like, let me not give Brian a reason to. Oh, because he's like, yo. But again, you could easily, like, brand it, right? This ain't hip-hop. It's chip-hop.
It's chip-hop.
It's built off of chips, NVIDIA and shit. Forget your name, actual chips. The chips that are actually doing the work for this, not you.
I'll have you 16 songs by the end of next week.
There you go.
Run it through the machine, and we're gonna make $1 million.
Stick it, throw it against the wall, see if it sticks.
10%.
That's a lot.
That's fine.
I'll take that.
I'll take the other 90. No, you get. All right. Well, how are we gonna split? Brian, you get a little something.
You get a little something. So, little something.
Yeah, he told us not to do it. So then he gets, all right, so Brian gets 5%, and you get 10%. That's 15, so it leaves us 85. All right, you get, I don't know, what's half of 85?
42
and a half.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll take the other 42 and a half. So we're all good.
There we go.
All right.
That's fine.
We all made the deal on
5 streams, we'll get like one fraction of a penny. We'll split it 42.5%.
You undervalue how amazing I am at writing lyrics.
I want to hear the Bluegrass album.
We'll do it too. We'll release them at the same time.
See which one sells more.
Stop me.
10% for doing
Look
nothing.
Look how easy it is. All you have to do is be here and be the face of
do nothing.
other
exactly.
ChipChat albums. We'll release the Bluegrass albums. I'll be on the front of that. You can be on the front of the hip-hop ones. Yeah.
Not the hip-hop ones. The chip-hop ones.
Chip-hop.
Yeah.
I regret ever teaching anybody that.
Yo, and you know what's going to be fucked up?
It's going to work.
No, but it's like, I could see 20 years from now or some shit, I'm going to hear chip-hop.
Yeah?
I know that's going to happen. Nah, 10. 10. But guess what, though? The waves will destroy it all.
Yeah.
The way electricity could watch.
Nebraska will be fine.
Look.
It's not going to get
different
that
type
far
of hydropower.
Yeah. It's not going to get that far.
Wait till this look. Oh.
All right, here's what we should do. We do need to play the Turtle Island song.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. We
got Fire and Language. We got the Turtle Island song.
Yeah. Let's play the Turtle Island song and take a break. When
we come back, tell you a little bit about before we play it, or you just want to go in blind?
Well, we played the Fire Island.
No, you started to, and then you realized it was not the AI song.
We play the Fire Island, and then we can set up the turtle. Yeah, okay.
All right.
The Fire and Language, and then we can set up the Turtle Island.
Do you want me to preface it, or just want to play it?
Let's play it, and then you can explain it,
and
then we'll play the turtle.
All right.
This is not AI.
No, this is real.
There's your
ChipChat
disclaimer
on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps.
A dark cave illuminated by flame, lightning sparks marks on tree bark, burns the remains. We invent sharp tools to hunt meat, cut beef with blunt knives that mimic front teeth. Elusive, the flame dances to its beat. It can't be contained, slightly out of reach. Experiment with flint. Wood uses kindling. It starts to singe and then goes up in flames. The discovery of fire is taught. Burning flesh of wild animals caught during hunts. Kill with blunt objects. Ruling by force before the first humans domesticate the horse. Fire during cold winter months meant warmth, which led to ancestors traveling north, telling stories in circles around campfires. We sing to the stars in the very first choirs. Shrieks, howls, sounds form from mouths. The meaning of words by tribes were passed down before they were written on tablets and reeds. Before we could read, the voice was all you would need to convey concepts vague, translate dreams, ideas to which everybody agreed. From the mind to the mouth, thoughts become words, subtleties of meaning when something is inferred. Abstract beliefs able to be vocalized, which allowed humans to now be mobilized across distances. Words travel like birds, nothing unites the herd like a voice being heard. The mind's narrative air comes from the lungs, lips move in sequence, rolls off the tongue, sound reaches the ear, invokes a picture into the mental when the memory is triggered.
All right, welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Ted.
What's popping up?
That was our guest, Early Bird.
Yes.
All right, so that song is about the beginning of humanity.
Yes, the invention of fire and the invention of language. The first verse is about fire. The second one's about language.
So where does Dylon, who spits hot fire, fit
Christ.
in this?
What is going on?
That'd be thousands of years later.
Oh, okay. I thought he might have been right there, you know. Spits hot fire.
This is like the whole middle part of Yuval Noah Harari's great book, Sapiens. That was literally those two verses. Ty, that's exactly it right there.
Yeah.
The written word and like people talking and communicating. Yeah, that's a. To hell, how did you get to that top? Like, where did that come from?
Basically, I'm manic depressive, so I have situations where I get a lot of energy, and then I have situations where I get real depressed. So I had a situation where I had a lot of energy. I had a weekend free. I had the concept to kind of go through history, and I wanted to. I know I'm a white man, and I'm kind of mansplaining history here, which has been done to death. But I wanted to touch on certain events in history that have happened since the beginning of invention of fire, the language, and I touched on things that I thought were relevant to our development as a species. And it's 10 tracks, 2 verses in each track, no choruses. And each track deals with something I think is relevant to the overall whole of the world and the species. Of course, most of it's probably Eurocentric because a lot of developments in technology funneled through, Europe. But I do talk about the pyramids. I talk about Cleopatra. I talk about there are things that are left out, which is when you write history, you're always leaving things out. And I'm aware as a white man, there are things I'm leaving out. But I tried to touch on things that I thought were relevant. By the time I got to the 19th and 20th century, things were happening so rapidly that big chunks of stuff is left out. I could have done a whole album just on some of these verses, you know? And it really begs the question, what do you leave in, what do you leave out? If you've only got 10 tracks, 2 verses per track, there's a lot of stuff being left out. One thing I thought of, I made the album in 2 days. I produced it, recorded it, wrote it, did the whole album in 2 days.
Which is crazy.
Well, I have the manic energy, and
I was gonna say,
get,
right?
I get like tuned in, and I focus on it.
Right, you're just locked in, and you just knock it out.
Yeah. So I look at this album kind of like a side quest because I have an album coming out in September. It's a double album that I've spent the last 2 years working on. This was a little side quest I took for a weekend, and I finished it about a year ago, and it's coming out tomorrow, tonight, whatever. So this was just a little experiment in writing and history, and I learned things. And I remember growing up, I would listen to Stretch and Bobbito, and they would have KRS on, and he would rap about how Jesus was whitewashed through history, through the painting of the Sistine Chapel. And I would like learn through that stuff, you know?
Yes.
I went to a trivia game, and my friend Silent Mind from Virginia Beach, shout out to Silent Mind, I actually got a trivia question because he has a line where he goes, Silent Mind, point to the stars like Ptolemy. And there was a question about Ptolemy, and I was like, I know who that is through rap. And you learn these things through rap. Like when I was growing up, I learned about the West Coast. I learned about the East Coast. I learned about different boroughs in New York. So you can visualize, rap's very powerful. You can visualize these things. So I wanted to kind of just tackle history. And the next track, when we get to it, is about first contact, the slave trade in Turtle Island, and the original sins of this country. I don't know if you want to play it now or you want to talk a little more.
We're going to play it in a second.
Okay.
What I want to know is, like, we're going to play this track, and there's more to come, right? People, this comes out literally tonight.
Yeah.
So if you're tuned in, where can everybody get it?
It's on Spotify. It's on iTunes. All the DSPs should be on there.
All right.
The name of the album is History Rhymes.
History Rhymes.
Yes.
Great record.
Which comes from I believe it was Mark Twain who said history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes.
It rhymes. That's right.
Great title.
So let's preface this by saying, before we play this track, y'all heard that the Fire song first. Nobody else has heard that.
Yeah, exclusive.
It's an exclusive. The song we're going to play about Turtle Island, that's also an exclusive.
Yes.
So I want to build up a little bit to that. Go ahead.
Because there you go. That's how you go. And I might be misremembering this, but I feel like I was just reading about like this idea of Turtle Island in this indigenous woman's book. And is that where it comes from? That's
like, what the natives referred to. This land is Turtle Island.
Because I felt that's because it's almost right. It goes back to the whole concept of like what stories that we tell.
Yeah, and I could have said New World, you know?
But like the story of Turtle, I would implore people to look into that because number one, it's like it's a really good story itself, and like as an inception story of like how humans would come to be on this. It makes a lot of sense, and it almost like, as I was reading like on this, it almost talked a lot about like, again, like reciprocity and like you give to the earth gives back to you. I'm very interested to hear what the song about this sounds like this.
So I will preface it by saying I am a white guy, but I think it's important for white people to reconcile with these things in our country because often white people get defensive. They don't talk about this. True. So I kind of leaned into it. It might make people
governors of Florida.
It might make people feel a way to have a white guy talking about the slave trade and talking about first contact, but it's in our history. I can't gloss it over. I mean, I know they don't want our kids learning this stuff, but it's a dark part of our history, but it's vital to where we are now. So,
all right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play the track, and then I do want to ask you about what you plan to do with this album in the future. So, without further ado, Brian, hit the track. Let's play Turtle Island and all of the things that come afterwards.
Sit upon the shore of Turtle Island, see a strange phenomenon. On the horizon, a pale man sails his ship into harbor and more begin to emerge onto land from the water. They gaze at each other, first contact occurs, but the language barrier prevents the exchange of words. They don't know small microbes transmit disease. The natives in awe of the white man's technology. Settlers call them naive, they wear no clothes, bare breasts exposed, earlobes pierced with gold. They trade compasses, pots made of iron and clay, but the guests then decide to extend their stay. Disagreements soon, small conflicts start when the white man tests if his metal is sharp by cutting off hands and limbs of little children, raping women, branded insignias on their skin. Kingdoms in Africa, all over the map, skin considered black. Colonizers begin to kidnap, trading flesh in the new world. Captives adapt, enslaved, put into a system where they're trapped with so-called merciless Indian savages. As cargo from Africa makes the middle passage safe, put upon auction blocks, traded like livestock, not allowed to be taught how to read. They were mocked, bought and sold, the names from their homelands forgotten. Now they sweat in fields harvesting sugar and cotton. Underground railroads, some people resist escape, led the north to freedom by Harriet. Others invent delicacies from parts of pig scraps, cornrows and hairstyles to depict maps. Endure horrific situations, families split, scars on the back of the enslaved hit with whips.
Welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and Beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Ted.
What's popping out?
That was tracked by our guest, Early Bird. All right. That's a heavy one.
Yeah, it is. That's probably the heaviest one on the whole album, actually.
That's
But it had to be heavy. I mean, dealing with the subject.
Yeah. There's no other way to talk about it.
I've only got 32 bars to talk about first contact, which led to near decimation of an entire people, and the slave trade. And those are two brutal topics. So
it's rough.
Yeah.
And
I'm a white guy talking about it too, so that makes it even more complicated.
Well, let's just say that in certain states where these things aren't taught, right, or are not allowed to be taught.
Yeah.
We're looking at an environment where art may be the only way that we can get this message out there. You know, we are seeing folks have to self-educate. We're seeing the resurgence of Sunday schools and in black churches in particular, in places like Florida and Alabama and things where they're not even teaching about gospel stuff. They're just teaching history because it's the only place they can safely do it.
Oh, wow. I didn't know about that.
And, homeschooling groups, civic-minded groups, it's a shame. It shouldn't be that, but it is. And I think that, art plays a role in that because we can safely transmit, for now, we can safely transmit music and art as a way to teach that history.
But, and I feel like art's always kind of, in a sense, done that. Like, even to your point earlier, like, you listen to hip-hop songs and, like, it could teach you things that you would never see like a curriculum in schools that you would expect to see it there, but you would hear it in the music. So I think like this a continuation. Like I've always, and even if it's not even that history, I remember even earlier like hip hop specifically, but all genres of music. Like I've always been like passionate about the music that feels like it takes me into whatever that world is. So whether it's in history, whether it's like, hey, I've never been to Compton, but right, the music that was made out of that could make you feel like you were there,
That's
or
right.
in Chicago, or in Miami, or wherever it is, or like in Massachusetts, or Boston.
You learn through music. A
Yeah,
lot of us do anyway,
definitely.
or through reading, or any of these other things. So art plays a role. I guess congratulations for being willing to tackle such a hard topic. I mean, the world is full of tough stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Earlier this week, we got a sentencing out of this terrible series of hate crimes that were going on in Mississippi with these cops perpetrating this awfulness. And, every time it came on the radio, on the news radio, which I listened to a lot, I switched it off. It was too much. I couldn't listen to it. It made me sick. I couldn't deal with it. One of our compatriots on this network, shout out to Jay and King's Table, he tackled it head on.
Yeah.
He talked about it, and he dealt with the subject, and I was listening in, and I was sending him messages and stuff, and even now, just even talking about it, I wasn't strong enough to confront this.
Okay.
I wasn't ready to listen to it, filtered through however many people, and tough stuff out there. So art plays a role.
Yeah.
Art plays a role in communicating those things that are hard for all of us to deal with. Speaking of things that are hard to deal with, we're in a post-Dobbs world.
Mm-hmm.
The end of Roe, the end of choice in this country. And, there are women who are in peril all over this country, specifically in states like Louisiana, where these abortion bans have gone into effect that are so strict and so draconian that they're costing lives. They're costing lives of women. They're costing lives of babies. They're destroying families. They're traumatizing entire communities. They're driving doctors out of these states.
Right.
They're increasing the rate of maternal death. This story is a long one, and I don't want to go too far into it, and I really think I mostly want to skip it for sake of time and for sake of sanity. But
right.
Suffice it to say, there is necessary emergency medical care that is not happening because doctors are afraid of being arrested in states where laws have been passed by people who have, frankly, no clue how reproductive systems work. And this is costing lives. And the party of life is out there celebrating the defeat of Roe while women with ectopic pregnancies are dying, while babies are dying, while women who could have more babies, who want to have more babies, are dying.
Yeah.
Because they can't get necessary health care. I don't know how the party of life squares that.
No.
I don't know.
No, there's going to be a huge backlash against this. We've seen it. We've seen it in two elections.
We've seen it in 2 elections, and
it's not going to stop.
God help the Republican men whose wives have had miscarriages, whose sisters have had miscarriages, because I know
mistresses have had
whose
miscarriages.
mistresses who they paid for the abortions of. I know that none of you men can think of these women as needing health care for their own sake and only in terms of yourselves. And I understand that. You're far too stupid to understand that other people have feelings and needs. But some of those people who you don't understand have feelings and needs are related to you. Or in some cases, your property, depending on what state you're in.
Yeah.
And they are in peril from the decisions that you have made. And Lord help you, that they will have to suffer to teach you the lesson that you will probably never learn. It's terrifying. It's terrifying out here as another human being to know that there's people who are at risk.
And I don't want to do a deep dive into.
It's too hard to confront. But we
But
did have OBs on this show,
Yes,
and we
yeah,
did ask
we've
them
had- yeah,
about
we
this
asked-
preemptively.
we
and
did before. They told us it was going to get Dave. We heard
all
that.
of this.
I think I really look back to 2016 and like when you talk about playing the long game and like your internal feelings about like what's up there, or like you want to shake the fucking system up and do all these fucking things, right? Because like your own, like, a lot of people who want to do that too are like, I like to say, you're bored with your own fucking life.
They're too secure,
and everything is good to go. You don't feel the consequences of this. Even and like anybody who was like, oh well, I don't want to vote for her because I don't like her, and it's like you're not even thinking about the game of like the game of politics. And I hate that, it's not a game, but it is in a sense of like, hey, you know what we need? Like, I need 3 Supreme Court justices
who are going to overturn the right to choice.
I need 3 of them. And how do we get 3 of them? The evangelicals who believe in all right, and you're the one issue voter. And like on the flip side of that, for anybody who stayed home, right, and you're allowed to do that. I'm not saying that. But when you think about that, right, I can draw a line to that. I can draw a line to that and be like,
if you're pro-choice and you stayed home in 2016, this is on you.
Like, and I get there's a deeper thing that goes into it for the reasons why people don't vote. All right, I'm there. I understand that probably six states in this country control the outcome of the presidential election.
Fine.
I understand all of that. But like, it's a bad bet. It's a very bad bet. And like, I'm not saying like we kind of baked our own cakes for this one, but like, that man shouldn't have won that in 2016.
He didn't win.
Yeah, well,
he didn't win the popular vote.
No, that doesn't matter.
Right.
That's not what we're here to win.
He won the electoral
That's
college.
what I'm saying about the game of all of this shit. And it's not a game, but again, this is, and I get like, this is, right, this is the, like, let's just take it as basketball, right? There are rules in basketball,
That's
right?
right.
And like, in order to, in a sense, win in basketball,
you gotta play by the rules.
Again, we allowed folks to change the rules, right? Folks have changed the rules, and even like when there was a chance, like a final chance, right, to like try to rectify some of this stuff, and for personal reasons, which are probably valid in some areas, people decided to make that choice. And we're here now because of that. And I think we should scream about that loud because this could have been avoided by a couple, 40,000, 60,000 votes maybe in certain places. Handful. So I don't know. It just should not be. Like, the fact that this got overturned is because, again, people we playing around with this democracy. We might play around one more again.
Make them feel the pain of their decision.
It's gonna happen. I think people
make them feel the pain at the ballot box of their decision.
Women, if that's gonna happen.
If the women of America decide that this is completely bullshit, and I gotta say, for the men who think that this doesn't affect them, wake the fuck up. Wake the fuck up, because this is all your whole life revolves around.
Yeah.
If punish them at the ballot box. Punish them relentlessly for a generation in the same way that the South voted for Democrats for 50 years because FDR rescued them from the Great Depression, right? Punish the Republican Party for overturning Roe v. Wade for a century. Never let them into power again, because every second that they get in power puts women in jeopardy, puts families in jeopardy, puts babies in jeopardy, puts Americans in jeopardy. One of those groups applies to you. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
Are you an American?
Yes.
Are you a person?
Yeah.
Do you know women?
Yeah.
I mean, do you care about babies? What the fuck is the matter with you? They caught the car, let the car run them over. Hard. With knobby tires.
It's a tone issue in this segment. We had bad tone on that segment.
Moving on.
Bad tone. Terrible tone.
It's not terrible.
Yeah, it's bad tone.
Fight the fight.
No one's like...
Write checks. Donate. Do something.
Yeah.
March. Something. Fucking vote. Don't boo, vote, right?
Please.
Isn't that the line?
Please.
All right. Go Blue. Up in Michigan. My favorite place it is in Virginia.
That's crazy.
It is my.
It is your favorite place.
That is in Virginia.
This is a wild story.
All right, an attorney involved in efforts to upend the results of the 2020 election was arrested in federal court here in D.C. This weekend in order to turn herself in to authorities back up in Michigan.
Yeah.
As civil and criminal cases involving claims of voter fraud collided. Collided is interesting. So Stephanie Lambert, she was in court representing the former CEO of Overstock.com, which is an insane beginning of this story, because he was fighting
Dominion. He was saying Dominion lies.
He's fighting charges from Dominion suing him into oblivion for lying about their voting machines. Okay, cool. Get it. Yeah. Regular, run-of-the-mill, Trumpista bullshit.
Yeah.
It's fine. Whatever.
Failed business, hanging out with another failed businessman.
Right.
It's just the same, exactly, right? It's hell is the same.
Here we go. Then they ended the trial.
Yeah.
And the judge was like, hey, can you hang around for a minute?
One more.
Lambert was in D.C. federal court Monday representing former Overstock CEO Patrick Byrne, who was being sued by Dominion Voting Systems for repeatedly and falsely saying that the company's machines were used to tamper votes in 2020.
They were not.
But she was the one being questioned and asked why she made public thousands of Dominion documents that she had sworn to keep confidential. So, basically, the judge was like, hey, can you hang around for a minute? And then the marshals came and they locked the doors and they're like, you're under arrest.
Yeah.
Why was she under arrest, you might ask? Well, because she divulged all of the discovery stuff in the case to some random-ass sheriff in the middle of some other part of Michigan? Maybe Wisconsin. I don't know. One of those states that nobody cares about. And
Southwestern Michigan.
There you go. Ohio. No, Southwestern. I'm sorry. Wisconsin. So another state we don't like. So basically,
yeah, what I do, I need them.
You need Wisconsin?
Yeah, they're one of the 6 states that matter.
Oh yeah,
just gracious.
Well, I was thinking about college football.
Oh God, never. Oh my God. Oh yeah, it's okay. Cakes bake for November.
So, in a civil suit, both sides are required to exchange evidence, right? Okay.
Yes.
And in most cases, the attorneys have to not give that to people who aren't involved in the case. Lambert, this attorney who was arrested and is facing charges, argued in court that she was under no obligation to adhere to the protective order because the emails that she received as part of this discovery, quote, contained evidence of a crime. But so she gave them to some sheriff, but there was no evidence of any crime. She said it was like being handed a dead body as part of the case file.
Documents, dead body.
Specifically, she alleged that there was proof that, quote, Dominion conspired with foreign nationals in Serbia. This is going very well.
This is to your point about when the lies go from it was in Venezuela, we disproved that, now we're in Serbia.
She only recently became Byrne's lead attorney in Washington, but said in court that she had been helping with the case since last year and gained access to the documents sometime, quote, after the holidays. Given that she had them for weeks, it's not months. The judge ruled that the dead body analogy doesn't ring true. There's nothing there. She gave these documents to this guy. Okay. Who's the guy? He's a guy that she claimed was a national intelligence asset. He's an FBI informant. He was not an FBI informant.
Oh, God. That always goes well.
Lambert added that Byrne shared the documents with, quote, the U.S. Attorney's Office. She said she didn't know which one. There are 93 U.S. attorneys in the United States, just for reference. Lambert argued that Byrne is, quote, the guy she's representing, is, quote, a national intelligence asset who is entitled to share national security information with law enforcement. Byrne left Overstock after saying that he had been instructed by the FBI to pursue a romantic relationship with Maria Butina, who was the Russian national who pretended to be an NRA
girl,
honey, and caught all these guys in this honeypot thing working for the KGB. He was like, no, the FBI told me to go out with her, which he definitely didn't do, by the way. What?
What the fuck, man?
We told you all this shit was going to happen. These people keep doing it.
I don't have anything to say to that. I have nothing to say to that.
And finally, in Florida. Okay, you may remember we've covered this story several times on the show.
Yeah.
Is this the in Florida or not?
No. This is not Florida or not. This is just straight. This is happening in Florida.
Okay, so this did happen in Florida.
Former Florida GOP chairman Kristen Ziegler and his wife Bridget Ziegler, a Sarasota school board member and co-founder of the conservative group Moms for Liberty. They have filed a lawsuit seeking to bar release of records involved in her husband's criminal rape investigation.
So her husband has been charged with rape.
Yes.
Just want to clarify that.
He tried to rape their threesome partner. Because he was like, hey, we're going to have a threesome. And the partner was like, okay. And then he showed up and she was like, well, I'm really into it for your wife. And he's like, no dice, it's happening. And then he raped her.
What?
Wow.
Yep. The once powerful Republican power couple sued the city of Sarasota and state's attorney's office specifically to prevent the release to the media of text messages that they sent to each other that were recovered by the police during the now closed investigation, which we've all already seen, by the way. Yeah, the party of family values. The Zieglers attached affidavits to the lawsuit claiming phone and text records and other content on social media accounts seized after the issuance of several search warrants were intended to be private and confidential. Well, not after they were seized in a warrant.
No, that's over with.
The lawsuit filed March 15th alleges that the Zieglers were, quote, concerned that other individuals and media outlets will most likely make or have already made requests for public records. Yes, they have already made. Y'all got caught. You can't bury this now.
I mean, look, they're trying to do their best. What is it? Jerry Falwell Jr.
Yeah, the pool boy.
Yeah, it's the same shit, right? Yeah, I mean, he didn't write. I didn't hear any allegations of rape in that one, so it's a little bit different there.
It took several months for the Florida GOP to oust this guy, by the way.
Of course it did.
Because they were like, well, he's fine. Matt Gaetz was like, no, keep him.
Yeah, police.
Yeah. Keep him, 17 years off the Venmo. Both police and state's attorney cited inconsistencies in the victim's memory of events based on, quote, substantial intoxication, the trauma that the victim was experiencing as a factor of the decision. So they're awful. It's worse. They drugged her. It's okay.
Oh, wow.
You hear that music?
I do.
It means we've come to the end of the show.
Early.
We want to say thank you. Thank you to Early Bird and your robots for all of the music. Go get the album. Where can everybody get the album?
It's on Spotify. If you want to pay money, you can go to iTunes. You can buy it on iTunes.
There you go.
There it is.
All right. Thanks to NOTN for keeping us on for another week. Maybe. We don't know. Thanks to our radio partners, Shortwave, Longwave, and their little cousin, Microwave. Thanks to our home on the interwebs, CoPlayMedia.com. And thanks, as always, to our family here at Beltway Radio for making us sound as smooth as Stumpy the Cherry Tree. All right, where can everybody get you on the social medias?
You can find me on Instagram at KetchumCordy. You can find me on Twitter or X, whatever you call this at this point, at DC Cortez. It's baseball season, so I'm back. And you can always find me being a flaming liberal on that flaming liberal site, Blue Sky, at DC Cortez.
All right, Early Bird, where can everybody find you?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Bird Boogie. And you can go to my website, getthatworm.com. Keep up on the latest.
Such a great fucking
website,
URL,
and
man.
yes, it's
so good.
getthatworm.com.
So good.
All right, and you can find me in the show on the Twitter at ChipChatR. You can find us on Facebook or Instagram at RepChipChat. And you can, of course, find us every Thursday night here on Beltway Radio and Beyond. I'm Chip. That says that's Early Bird. You've been listening to ChipChat on Beltway Radio and Beyond.
I'm ready to go home.